I think the song's over now.
Welcome to the Wednesday Club.
Are we going? We're going.
Look at this.
What? There's a thing that happened. I'm sure you've noticed if you've been paying attention to Geek and Sundry that things have been getting augmented and built larger and more grand, and we have gotten.
We've gotten grander.
It's more set and more table than ever before.
We have 1,000% more knobs to turn.
So many buttons.
We don't know what they do yet. We're a little afraid.
We just moved into our secret headquarters.
This is our brand new secret headquarters, and we're going to keep adding and playing with it and putting up new comics and maybe some trophy. I don't know. We're going to get weird.
And by the way, we're not going to tell you where this is located.
Well, so
is it the Adirondacks? Don't know. We're not.
It would be the not secret headquarters then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well,
but you're welcome to guess. We know where we're at.
I think we're allowed to say beautiful downtown Burbank.
Well,
but
how's that secrecy going?
Yeah, I know where in Burbank it is.
That's fair. I'm Taliesin Jaffe. I'm working counter today on this very special episode, Executive Goth on Everything That Matters. To my left.
Hello, I'm Amy Dallen. We are back with our second episode at the new time to talk secret headquarters. I'm Enthusi Amy everywhere.
And I just learned this. You have an Enthusi army, which I'm excited about. Like I didn't know that.
They're excited about it too, ironically.
I hope that the Enthusi army.
It's a happy kind of marching.
Yeah. My name is Matt Key, at the Matt Key, where it matters, though I do have an Instagram now that I'm Brittany, my lovely wife, is teaching me how to use.
People should see what you get up to. You get up to exciting things.
I do, sometimes. And that is a Java Shambhala. Because I like coffee and I like Doctor Strange. So
amazing.
Java Shambhala.
Java Bookie Girl, are you in chat right now?
We
Y'all are on a vibe.
Yeah,
we vibing.
We vibing.
And before anyone else says it, yes, I do have 2 cups. We're in a secret headquarters and I'm drinking iced tea and coffee. Because I need to drink.
Be so caffeinated.
Is that connected to the headquarters? Well, I was really excited halfway through that sentence.
Where did I lose you?
Well, we're in a secret headquarters, and you have 2 cups.
Yeah, because now that we're in a secret headquarters, we have a bigger budget, so I can have a second cup.
I'm into this.
I don't
the only
remember
reason I don't
budgeting
have
for
2
that
beverages
second
is
cup.
that I did
Oh,
not.
that's because I'm the
no.
treasurer, so I budgeted for it. Do you want a second cup?
Well, now that I'm thinking about it, you know what? I'm going to get. We're going to be at Comic-Con in a few weeks. And I'm
in a few weeks,
week.
And by that you
1
mean
week.
a
2
week,
weeks,
right?
1 week,
Yeah.
1 week.
Next
A
week.
week.
Oh my God,
day.
it's a week as of today.
Yeah.
Yep.
Watch the panic happen.
Oh my God! Yeah.
What's up, Mother Panic?
That's that's blood reaching my head right there. I'm going to buy a fancy cup.
Ooh.
I'm going to buy a fancy cup. Ooh. It'll be fancy.
But you have to promise that when you drink of it, you do this.
Ooh. Do you want me to do that really quick? I don't know how well I do it because my voice is kind of low. Let's see. Oh, it actually goes better than low.
Yeah. Hello. Fancy.
Oh.
Fancy cup.
Thank you.
Mine sounds like a moose.
Japan Rose, yeah.
We should probably talk about comics. Well, let's talk about what
What are we
tonight.
going to talk about today?
Since we have our fancy new secret headquarters, and this was our thought, was to talk about the notion of secret headquarters and kind of the coolest secret headquarters throughout comic books, or not so secret headquarters. There's actually like quite a bit of them.
Quite a bit of them.
And I've been thinking a lot about this in my more metaphysical, like Jack Handy sort of way. Wow, that was probably a reference that was lost on half our audience.
Deep thoughts.
Probably
Deep thoughts.
80% of our listeners.
Deep thoughts.
But I remember as a kid being really, really. I was one of those kids who did action figure wars all the time. That was my thing. Was making them all, deciding who lived in what corner of my bedroom, and like lining them up and getting them all serious, and then like either like getting the action play set, whether it was Castle Grayskull or the D&D, the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Creepy Mouth thing, or even I had like the Care Bear Heart Palace. I had them all. Like I was into it.
Care Bears shoot lasers out of their chest.
They do.
Like, I got made fun of in school all the time for loving the Care Bears, and I was always like,
that's a bioorganic Iron Man.
They shoot lasers out of their chest. Screw you guys.
Havoc is basically
And
a
they all
Care
have
Bear.
tattoos on their butts.
It's just emo bear.
Havoc is emo Care Bear.
He's a middle child bear.
Yeah.
There's like, okay, I'm not
Depending on your
explaining that
personal
joke.
canon of
You have to
Summers
look that
Brothers.
one up. If you don't get the Havoc joke, this is for the first time the Wednesday Clubs, you have to Google something. Okay, fine. Havoc was the younger Summers brother in the X-Men who has powers that are kind of like his brothers, but not quite as cool. And everything he does is kind of like his brother, but not as good.
Not as cool.
And we feel bad for him because
Appreciate your own good qualities, Alex. You've got plenty going on.
You got to take a swim in Lake U. You got to find yourself.
New set, same loopy host.
Same very loopy host. Alex Summers.
Possibly loopier.
A little bit
Slightly
loopier.
loopier. It's all the primary colors.
Yeah.
They're
love
so
it.
pretty.
I love
this
it.
It looks so good.
And our stamp is not going anywhere. We've still got the stamps on the wall, and I'm very excited. We have our big W, which
and we
I'm
still
very
have
excited
Ken
about.
Wynn.
Ken, who gave us
The Hall of Justice.
Hall of Justice.
Hall of Justice shot. You.
We got the Hall of Justice. Oh wait, they're gonna do it.
Yes.
Oh, let me.
Too tall.
You're
too
so
tall.
tall, Matt.
I'm very tall.
Oh wow.
Oh, whoa!
Fancy. So fancy.
So fancy.
We so fancy. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any man with a rose on his vest.
Is he making another round? Here comes. Here comes.
Oh, wow. He,
Like that.
He bowed. He bowed. We love you.
So thinking about all this and all the things, I used to do like a lot of.
Oh,
like,
yeah, we're still doing a show.
Yeah, we're still doing a
Yeah.
show. And I was kind of thinking about like all these play sets. And I used to be really into the idea that if you were a superhero, you had to have this like weird private place and like this place where, because there's the whole notion of like, and I'm going to
Place
start
that
this
reflects
off.
you in the way that your costume does, in the way that your powers do, in the way that your presentation to the world does, but reflected in an intimate way.
Yeah, well, because Batman is Bruce Wayne when he's talking to people, and he's Batman when he's working. But when he's in the Batcave, he's neither. He's both. It's the only place where like
it's a
Who
place
is
of
Batman
like
when
refuge,
he's
yeah.
at home?
who is Batman when he is at home?
And where is his home? Is it the mansion or is it the Batcave?
I think it's the Batcave.
I think it's the Batcave.
The mansion is
That's a show.
there's a word. There's a word I'm missing. What is the mansion? The mansion is facade.
A facade.
It's a facade.
That's the prestige.
Funny, since that's literally an architectural term, and we're talking about
That is actually.
buildings. Yeah. Good job, comics. You're making sense.
Critter Nation 3000 says, Dr. Evil says, I want frickin' bears to shoot frickin' laser beams out of their chests.
Well, I mean, like.
Good callback.
Yeah.
And supervillains have their own kind of secret headquarters, which are always like a little different. I was starting to like try and make lists of like how often people are in caves. Like caves are like underground is definitely a thing for a lot of different villains, especially like or heroes as well. Public entities like the Hall of Justice or the Avengers Mansion, where like everybody knows where you are, everybody knows where you live, or the Avengers Tower, or things like the satellites, which are just sure everyone kind of knows where you are, but you're on the moon or you're in
Yeah.
orbit.
You
They
you
can't
sort of
pop
can't
by.
be reached. Yeah.
You're suddenly like very distant, and like the notion of like a lot of these different and like the more schoolyard terms of it of like the cave or the basement. Or then, and like on the other level is just like the living room of like the place where people meet, and then the treehouse, which is the satellite version of like where you suddenly have some kind of access that you can confirm or deny to people. I overthought this.
No, this is awesome.
Okay,
No, this is great.
Well, and then you have a third kind of space between the public and the private, where you get like the X-Men and Grey Malkin Lane. It is both very publicly known and not at all publicly known, because
Yeah.
depending on who you're talking to at what point in continuity, like we all know, like yeah, that's where the X-Men live, but they're like that's a school,
That's
and
a
you're
school for
literally
gifted
looking at people
youngsters.
walking around, and you're seeing like as opposed to Wayne Manor, which is like that's a mansion on top and a cave below, and Batman is operating out of that mansion, but it's not in the same way that like when you're looking at that school and you're looking at the X-Men training grounds, you're looking at the same place.
It's like one public, or like I guess the Flash Museum would be kind of a version of like the Flash is never really there, but it is kind of a public and very open symbol of everything, because the Flash just has an apartment. He doesn't have a secret headquarters. None of the Flashes really had
So that's what's interesting is they added essentially a big innovation for the Flash TV show has been giving him a
Star
secret
Labs,
headquarters,
which is really
Like,
fascinating.
And a secret team, like
Yeah.
a team of secret allies.
Well, television, toys. Because I was thinking about this, movies like film and toys really like some sort of place. Television, it's great to have a place where you shoot everything, which is why I think they did that. It's like you need a place where everybody convenes.
So
This
safe.
could be a whole episode on like we've talked about doing an adaptation one before, but one that could be kind of fun is like the kinds of things you tend to pick up in different mediums. So for instance, I'm gonna pull this name out and it might be the wrong one, but I think some folks like for instance, this is possibly true, but I think that like Jimmy Olsen wasn't much of a thing in the comics, but he became a big thing I think in radio, so
Yeah.
that Superman had someone to talk to. When you go on radio, you get someone
you
to
need
talk
that.
to. When you go on TV, you get a place to hang out. I wonder, like, to what extent this holds true. And what other
That's
kinds
really
of-
fast. I mean, I kind of knew that, but it hadn't really occurred to me that that's such
Check
a.
my facts. Not sure.
But no, I mean, like, and I'm a big Jimmy Olsen fan. Like, I've got some love for Jimmy. Like, and he was rocking the bow tie before Doctor Who.
Yeah.
That's and that at some point we're gonna.
I love the long. Yeah.
We're gonna have to eventually
Jimmy
talk
bow
about
ties
that.
aren't cool, Olsen. Like bow ties are cool is one thing, but Jimmy bow ties aren't cool wearing it anyway.
He's cool enough that he don't care.
Yeah.
Do you remember that miniseries, the most recent Jimmy Olsen miniseries, where the aliens wanted to throw a rave on Earth?
No, I didn't read that one.
Someone's gonna have to look this up. I'm so sorry that I'm going this. Jimmy Olsen, Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, who's basically just this photographer kid who hangs out. He's like Spider-Man with no powers and a better attitude.
Oh.
Jimmy's great. Jimmy's
he's-
like the kid
he's Rick Jones.
you want to be. But except that whereas Rick's kind of like, hey, teenage friends. Like Jimmy was always too good to even try and.
Well, and Jimmy didn't necessarily
doesn't
want
need
to
it.
be a hero. Rick Jones was like a
No.
superhero groupie who desperately wanted to be a hero.
Granted,
Jimmy just
Jimmy
wants to
Olsen
be
had his
Jimmy.
own comic for hundreds of issues where he got into tons and tons of shenanigans.
Tons of shenanigans. He was a shenanigan man, and there's a great run and it's beautiful art where these aliens want to come and throw a party on Earth. There was this big rave, but he figures out like while talking to them, he discovers that when they throw these parties, the planet they're on is just decimated. They just ruin it, and life ceases to exist. So they're actually kind of just going to absorb all of our resources for
Is
a
it
really
because they're dropping
crappy-
the bass way too hard?
Yeah, it's like they're very much like bad techno music. We're gonna party so hard,
Please don't drop the bass. Oh God, here it comes.
and they're way too powerful to deal with it. So he convinces all of Metropolis to pretend to be super boring, so that they'll leave and not throw their party. He just it's literally Jimmy Olsen going, I've got a plan. We're gonna make everybody. And so Supergirl shows up to take the alien princess out and takes her to her favorite knitting stores. And she's just, this is the worst. And it's the best plan ever to thwart an alien invasion.
The way you're describing it is that Jimmy Olsen is the Archie of the Superverse.
He is the Archie, except he's almost better. That he's like Archie and Jughead had a strange genetic child. They're great. Who sometimes turns into a giant armadillo and things. You never know.
What he's referring to is that Jimmy had his own series during one of the wackier eras of comics.
Wacky.
So there's a tremendous amount of turning into various things.
Getting
and
superpowers.
Getting
We
doubled and
really
tripled.
need to
and-
do a Comics Code episode because
We did a little, but we really need to
but the 50s and 60s and all the weird zany stuff that they did was because of the prohibitions of the Comics Code.
They were not unrelated.
I could do a whole 2 hours on Zur-En-Arr, man. We could delve so deep into the bat. There's a crazy Batman in a purple, yellow, and red suit that has superpowers. It was a simpler time. It was not a simpler time.
I just want to point
but it
out
was
that
a weirder time.
Aromia Fleiss says that they agree with that statement, so we should do it.
They do. Yeah, we'll do it.
I mean, we have to do a dedicated code one. We may also
Yeah, we really do.
a Birth of the Silver or
That's a whole- that's
Atomic
another
Age.
episode,
Those are.
What's the name of that editor, the DC editor, who was the big Silver Age guy who really?
Infantino?
No, God.
He's sort of late. You're thinking of either Julie Schwartz or.
It might have been Julie. Yeah, it was Julie Schwartz, I think.
There are a couple others. Sheldon Mayer, I think, was over there at that
There
time.
was a. I think it was because when Julie Schwartz died, they did a whole series of classic covers to sort of honor the energy of that era, and it really it reinvigorated my love of Silver Age at a time when I was starting to go a little belts buckles.
Gardner
and-
Fox was writing
so-
Justice League. Bob Kanigher did Wonder Woman for that whole time. Yeah.
Can you guys do me a giant favor?
Yeah.
Fatty Melt says, as someone who was late to the comics game, I love how much fun, cool shit I learned from this show. I would like to welcome Fatty Melt to the comics.
Welcome.
Welcome, Fatty Melt.
Join us in our crazy lair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
welcome to
So
the
what's a
Insane Lair.
headquarters? What's a lair? What's how do you name your?
Well, I mean, I think maybe a lair. I've been thinking a bit about this. Is for an individual, and a headquarters is for a team. Teams have headquarters. Batman doesn't have it. Batcave is not his
If one
headquarters.
person has a headquarters,
It's
it's
a
sort of
lair.
sad.
It's a lair.
And
a one-person headquarters is...
back at HQ, I'm answering the phone by myself.
Hi.
That's
All right, team, let's all get together. Cricket, 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 cricket. Let's go.
And I've made a list of a few of my favorites. But
Yes, please.
But things like the classics, of course, is the Justice League have had a couple.
the Justice League is the premier team of DC superheroes. We're leaning very heavily on our sort of American superhero stuff for today, but we'd love to hear other examples.
I'm gonna pull out of it a bit
Yeah.
too. I'm gonna get international. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Aquaman. They started in a cave, didn't they? They
Believe
started
so.
like
Justice Society
way
or Justice League?
Justice League.
Okay.
Society gets a little sketchy.
I don't know where they met. I don't remember.
Well, the modern Justice Society had a brownstone, the
Yeah.
brownstone,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
was like they had a building, like in New York, and then it's tough because the JSA they had the table, but it was a little squishy where they were all the time.
The
Like,
table is somewhere.
that table's got to live somewhere, and then they also had like government funding. So like for a while they were
Yeah.
the All-Star Squadron. The original DC Super Team got to do this. The
Sorry.
original, yeah, there we are. There's our All-Star Squadron. That's actually
Oh, that's amazing.
so during the war, they basically decided the American government got all of the superheroes together to like work as one big team for the government. It was a government-run team called the All-Star Squadron.
In which version of continuity and which war?
In a version of continuity in World War II.
Great.
Some version.
Continue.
God only knows which version. Several versions of continuity. For reasons that were like so MacGuffin-y that it's dumb, you couldn't really send superheroes into the war. Is kind of what they came up with. There was like Germany had a device, like a relic that would negate superpowers. Seriously. And the government was like, we don't want a dead superhero because that's really, really bad press.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep you people away from all that, and you're going to be fighting crime at home, as kind of a way of like creating that wall between the actual perils of reality and a little bit of four-color fun. There were a few exceptions, and there's some books that have dealt with that in interesting ways. Some better than others. I'm getting the Dallen stare. Oh, it's so good.
I'm just listening.
Like, yes.
My listening face.
We're both fascinated
This is
by
me going, I
everyone-
actually don't know
Yeah,
this.
I actually, I'm over here going, yes, Taliesin, teach me more.
So the JSA, these superheroes,
JSA meaning Justice Society
Society.
of America.
they had cups.
So many cups. They had all the cups, really.
The Justice Society and the All-Star Squadron were eventually, and I think this is still current continuity, although things have gotten messy in DC, as we've covered, were eventually, through the McCarthy era, were kind of like, okay, you guys unmask. And they were like, haha, peace out. And all just sort of disbanded. And then there was some weird reality warping and some people got trapped in other dimensions, and a bunch of people retired and
And
got
this
old.
is sort of the timeline of events as we tell it now, right?
Yeah.
A little bit less like what you would have been reading live in World War II, which
No.
was just that the Justice Society were running around doing things.
Yeah, continuity didn't really exist yet. We were all, it was all still a mishmash at that point.
Yeah.
And this was sort of their attempt to de-mishmash
Nobody thought
it.
you were really checking whether what happened 6 months ago contradicts what happened today.
Yeah, and I don't even think they certainly weren't checking. This is why we
They had
have
17 more comics to write.
Earth B, Earth 16, Earth 47 / Delta 5, and the never-ending
The classic
multiverse.
example is that in DC Comics there were like 3 different versions of Atlantis, I think,
Oh,
because
yeah.
it kept being used in different comics. And so eventually, when the next generation of writers came in, we've talked about this before, they were like, we gotta
But we should
explain
talk about it
this.
some more because we have a new time slot anyway, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
evening
New audience,
people.
maybe. Yeah.
World War II, you get people are just making stuff up. Justice Society is the first real team up, as far as we know, of
yeah.
American comics like superhero team. And it's got a mix of faces you would recognize, like Superman and Wonder Woman, and folks that you might be less familiar with, like Our Man and the Atom. And they were sort of active and popular in World War II, and then sort of, rather than being retired in a big flashy way, like a lot of other superhero stuff, they just sort of faded away because other stuff started outselling them. And some of those folks, their comics kept going, Superman and Wonder Woman and Batman, for instance, and some of the others were not seen for a while. And then there was a big resurgence related to the events you alluded to of the Comics Code. But in the meantime, by the time we get to the sort of 70s, a generation of writers who grew up on comics is coming in, who want to sort of figure out logically how everything goes together. And they start trying to fix those problems. And all solutions breed new problems. So
That should be the DC Comics logo. All solutions breed new problems.
it's not original to me, but they eventually established like the big one was that when they had sort of a bunch of like a new version of the Flash and a new version of Green Lantern that were running around with Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman, and they reformed a very World War II like super team called the Justice League.
As opposed to the Justice Society.
As opposed to the Justice Society, somebody eventually had the cool idea of them meeting the World War II versions of their characters.
And all hell broke loose.
Yeah, it started with Flash. Thanks, Flash. You started the Silver Age. You started multiple Earths. You're pretty much at the center of the
You
everything.
started the New 52.
Just doing my job.
You caused the New
Anytime.
52. You are
No
like
problem.
Is that the voice?
No, yeah, that's my Flash voice.
That's your Flash
Barry
voice?
Allen.
Barry Allen.
Sure, why not? God.
You're real good at what you do.
Thank you.
Oh.
Oh,
I take back all the shade, Flash. Thank you for being here on the Wednesday Club.
Travel back in time and cancel now.
So the Justice League, like to cover for the fact that like you wanted to meet the World War II versions, but there was also a Superman there and there was also a Wonder Woman there. They said, okay, that stuff all happened, but it happened somewhere else.
And that's
It
a different
happened in another
Superman
version
eventually.
of the world.
And then you end up with 3 different Supermen, and things got weird.
So
And you're talking about Earth 1, Earth 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they started numbering them, and then in '85 they tried to make them all one, and then they split them off again, and it has happened several times since. And that was probably the worst explanation.
No, that was.
but
I mean, like they can go back into our back issues to find the better explanation of this because we did cover it in a back
we
issue.
tried to do all of DC in one episode.
That
We
was-
should probably drill deeper
There was
at some
hubris
point.
there, I admit.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's just do the 60s.
We start in a cave. Like Justice League kind of starts in a cave, at least in some respects. It depends on which continuity you're
Yeah, we
playing.
get to the 60s, the reinvigoration of superheroes. They're massive hits, and they're all going to team up to form a super team called the Justice League, and what happens?
Fight Starro, and they're going to do all this cool stuff, and
They need some place to hang out.
they need some place to hang out. And I think this also possibly has something to do with the toy companies. I couldn't find any rock solid connection to this, but like the animation was starting to happen at this point. They were starting to do some branding, and this was one of the things that happened was the Hall of Justice. Was the idea that there was this place like a United Nations sort of building where the superheroes hung out. And that was kind of fun and interesting, and they did that for a while. And like, I don't think it was ever like really. It was mostly in the animation.
Yeah.
Most of us encountered that in Super Friends.
Yeah,
which was
Super
a lot
Friends
of
is
our
where it
first-
started. That's late 70s, early 80s. I can't remember
Late
the
70s.
premiere. But they didn't. The Hall of Justice didn't premiere in the
Comics, so way
for a
later.
while,
But they had like
2000s or
a meeting
90s, right?
place.
Something
Oh, it
like
was
that,
much
yeah.
later. But then, like the big thing that they did during the Pantheon era, and like I remember the one big thing, and you'll I think we'll have images for this, was the satellite.
Yeah.
Called the Watchtower, which was the idea of we're going to put the Justice League on the moon because we're going to treat it like Mount Olympus. And there's a lot of talk. That's actually the Injustice satellite, which I love quite a bit. That's a really Rock of Ages is a great storyline. I really enjoy it. That's some of my favorites. I love Our Man from the Future. There we go. This is something that started. The one that you showed me was originally from the Superman. Which was the Superman one we pulled up.
Well, we were looking at a diagram of the Fortress of Solitude from an old Treasury edition, which is a big oversized comic fun times thing.
But these side views where they break down what the superheroes have in all the different rooms and all the cool stuff they have became really, really popular, and people love this. And Justice League was one of the ones that did it. Superman Treasury did it with the Fortress of Solitude. There we are. The secrets of Superman's fortress. None of the icy cold stuff that you got from the movies for the Fortress of Solitude.
So what you're looking at here looks like 1960s, maybe?
Yeah, he's got the menagerie of alien beasts. He's got the statues of his parents, which is a little creepy and probably he should get some therapy over.
We have pictures of our parents. It's not really that different.
I don't know if I would want giant statues of my parents holding a planet
Yeah,
over
but
the
did you ever get
entrance
to meet your parents?
Yeah, I mean, who can ever really know them, but yeah.
I'm just saying, if you had never met them, maybe the statues would seem reasonable.
I feel like Doc Samson's got something to unpack there, but he's a universe away.
For those of you who don't know, Doc Samson is a superhero psychiatrist. Or
God, thank you.
psychologist?
I think psychiatrist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can Doc Samson prescribe?
There's also a villain psychiatrist, which I love so much.
Moonstone. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bad
great.
times.
But yeah, these notions of having these places where they live, and like especially secret identity vaults. Bless you.
Aww.
And
Always label your secret identity vaults so that when you're robbed, people know what to do.
The burglars know where to go.
I wonder what's in. What was the joke from the Justice League cartoon when there was a Lex Luthor switched brains with the Flash, and he's like, "Finally, I get to find out who." He takes the Flash's mask off, looks in the mirror, is like, "I have no idea who this is."
It's such a good moment.
It is kind of.
Just puts it back. It's like, God,
That's really funny because it's like, just because you know the face
Finally,
doesn't know who it.
It's a guy.
That was
It's
utterly
the
unhelpful.
president of the United States.
It's that guy.
Oh, Lex. But yeah, but like the things that like, what are the things that you're going to need to be a superhero, or like, and like really talk to like what kind of superhero you're going to be. And there's even like superhero lair envy that exists in, because like Batman's got his Batcave, and the Batcave is, I mean, we've all seen it in the movies. It's big, it's gothic, it's got all of his vehicles, it's got a supercomputer.
Would we say most famous Batcave? Does it edge out
Batcave
the
is-
Fortress of Solitude?
I think it does slightly
I think
out.
it does.
As
Yeah.
much as we would love that Donner.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that bat. And
Oh,
every artist gets to
beautiful.
do their Batcave eventually. Look, that's got the bat sub.
I
Wh-
think I will
which
never
one
get
is
tired
this?
of new Batcaves.
No.
Yeah, I kind of in new like Batmobiles. And anytime there's a new Batcave, I always look for: do they have the dinosaur? Do they have the penny?
Well, and there, there are icons in all these, which is
Yeah.
that Batman always has a giant penny, and he has a dinosaur. He's got a Tyrannosaurus Rex and it's part
Why
of his
does he
kind
have
of.
the dinosaur?
It was from a crime that like he keeps trophies from like big.
Not weird.
No, not weird at all. Well, I mean, like, and they all, like, a lot of them keep trophies. Like, there's the Justice League, the DC heroes are very trophy. The Justice League has the trophy room.
Yeah.
Superman has a very weird trophy room. Superman's
Yeah.
trophy room is a little creepy.
But there's, and you also get into the issue, especially with the Justice League and Superman, where there's a difference between, like, there's a trophy room and there's this is too dangerous to let anyone have, so I
vault.
guess
Yeah.
we'll put it in this museum-ish vault area.
Where we
We've
can
got a
keep
close-up
an
on
eye
the
on
trophy
it.
room from
Oh.
the Fortress of Solitude.
That's got. Why
What
does he
are
have
those
the shark
trophies?
fin?
Yeah,
And
what are
and a
those?
golden snitch, apparently.
He got the snitch.
Superman got the golden snitch.
Good job.
Well done,
He
you.
would be.
He'd
He would be very good at that.
He'd be a wicked good player.
He'd be a
wouldn't
good
he?
seeker.
Yeah.
So wait, how do the rules, if you fall off your broom, you're out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
So,
So he
what
would
if
just
you're
hold-
just still flying around, but
No,
you've
he would
lost
just-
hold of the broom?
He would hold his broom right here. And
So the
just-
key is to trick Superman into dropping his broom.
It'd be
Yeah,
like-
but
it'd
he's
be
got like infinite strength, so you're not getting it out of his hands.
Well, you don't
like,
pry it, you just got to distract him.
He is,
Yeah.
to be fair, vulnerable to magic.
Oh, he's so screwed,
Oh,
right?
oh.
Depending which version of Superman you get.
What?
I mean,
was
just
like, are you doing
throwing the
kung
bludger
fu?
at
What are
him,
Oh,
like
it's-
it would hit him with the force so much force because it's a magical
Because
ball.
technically it's a magical ball. That would actually work with it. Like I actually would. I'm now ready to see this. I'm now ready to see Superman play. Oh my
He's
God.
finally found a sport he can't just immediately dominate.
Thank God,
Character
about
character
time.
stigma says Batman's a seeker confirmed.
Oh, I'm into that. I'm into a whole notion of just like watching a whole bunch of DC versus Marvel like game. That would be
like
great.
of Quidditch.
Of Quidditch, like a full Quidditch
All right,
game.
so
Scarlet Witch is just hex powering everybody.
Yes, hex, just
like
hex.
fell off my broom.
fell off
thing
a broom.
exploded.
Fell off a broom.
I would.
So who would be on the DC team? Who would be on the Marvel
Draft
team?
your Quidditch teams.
Oh my God. Okay, actually, this is something for
That is-
Discord.
Yeah.
Build us a DC
Discord.
versus Marvel.
Build us some
Quidditch.
Quidditch teams.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's the bludgeons. There's the keeper.
Seeker.
Beaters are the people who
Beaters,
build the
that's
bludgers.
right,
Yeah,
beaters.
yeah.
Oh, bad nerds. There we are.
And we need to know who the captains are. Tell us who the
This is
captains are.
such a wonderfully. This is everything I've ever wanted the show to be.
So Hogwarts is kind of a secret headquarters. I'm on topic.
Well, there's schools.
Arkan Astros says X-Men Quidditch.
X-Men Quidditch. I mean,
See, they play a lot. Like,
They do play sports a lot.
and then they could play
has
Doom
anyone
Patrol.
done this? Because there's a lot of young nerds that join the X-Men. We've had fan characters before.
Yeah.
Are any of them like? I remember
Yes.
Little Brew presents a report on the Nova Corps, and it's the cutest in one of the X-Men runs. So
I
like,
forgot about that.
have any of the
Gru's
X-Men?
obviously a Potter nerd.
Yeah.
He would be,
He
right?
would be like
So-
without Gru is an alien life form, by the way, who goes to the X-Men school. He's not actually a mutant.
Well, he is.
oh,
He's
he
a
is-
mutant brood.
He's a mutant brood.
so he's kind of an outcast among his own people
Was it
who
Brew
are
or Brew? I thought it was
Brew.
Brew. B-R-O, right?
BROO.
Yeah, B-R-O.
Like brewed
yeah, yeah.
without the D.
Brew. Yeah.
yeah. Brew. Sorry.
I
yeah.
am
He's
I am
the
brewed,
cutest.
but I am not 100% brewed. I am Brew. Yeah.
Google Brew
adorable.
X-Men.
Wears a
He's
tie.
Little glasses. Okay,
Good
we're on
DJ.
topic. He would play Quidditch in back of the X-Men mansion, which excites us because there's a tradition where the X-Men play a bunch of things.
They play a lot of
Chief,
basketball.
you are right. Kamala Khan would be one hell of a keeper.
Whoa, Chief. Well done.
Chief in. Oh, well
Chief
done.
Doom.
I watched like Champions versus X-Men versus X-Men student body. That would be fun.
I'm having way too much fun. Please take us back
Wow,
to the topic.
back on topic. So yeah, we've got the Batcave, and there's definitely like there's a lot of DC side is very trophy oriented, like, and then Superman's got the Fortress of Solitude. This one's
So
weird.
what's the Fortress of Solitude?
This one's weird. Superman obviously is an alien from another planet raised in Kansas. There's a lot of one of the things that I really like about Superman is that he is weirdly the most well-adjusted superhero in the DC universe. If you're kind of dealing with him, in my opinion, the way that he works best is,
Sure.
is he's a healthy human being who happens to be an alien from outer space. He's got some problems, but he's mostly kind of normal amongst a group of
Pretty
relatively
good head on his shoulders.
yeah of people with a bit of weird. Not all of them, but like Batman's having some issues. But he is
he?
yeah. Well, and this is the thing is because he's an alien and like his alien heritage for some strange reason that depending on which version of the story you follow, his parents who sent him from Krypton also gave him the ability to build a sort of Krypton museum, which he did in Antarctica, it's at the North
Arctic,
Pole, the
yeah.
Arctic. It's at the North Pole, and it can only be opened by a giant key.
So this is a classic, at least one version of the Fortress of Solitude, is that, like, how do you design a really secure place? Well, if you're Superman and you are stronger than anyone on Earth,
You build a giant key to a giant door.
And you leave the giant key right in
out
front
in
of
the
your
open.
door because
Yeah.
no one else can pick it up.
you're like, well, I could just leave this right here. It's not like anyone's going to
But I mean-
wander
but I
by
mean,
the
Supergirl could
Arctic
pick
with
it up.
super strength. Well, I think
yeah,
this was
Supergirl-
maybe designed independently of her existing.
I think she's got. I
Probably
think
so.
she's also got she's not going to abuse that privilege.
No,
Let's be
no.
fair.
Yeah,
Kara's
look at
all
this
right.
picture. I love this.
Yeah, there's the giant key and the giant door. There is a version.
Who made the key small? Was it Morrison?
Morrison made the tiny key that was made out of compacted dwarf stars. So
yeah.
while it was a normal sized key, it weighed like 400 tons, and so only he could pick it up. And there was like a little indent under the mat where he kept it, like at the door.
Could you have that much weight in that singular of a space and it have exist on Earth, or would it just crash
No. There was
down
also
into the Earth's crust and impact the
There was
core?
briefly a run where they Doctor Who'd Superman when
Bigger
they
on
put
the inside?
they made him a terrasact where the Fortress of Solitude was like bigger on the inside kind of thing. There was a terrasact for a while. That was weird. But it's very cold. Like it's always been. I blame the Donner films for making the Fortress of Solitude. Maybe even making Krypton very cold.
Yeah.
Very, very stark.
Well, I thought they were sort of weirdly reasoning backwards from the aesthetics of the Fortress of Solitude, because it's not always the case that Krypton's sort of an icy
No,
planet,
it's had a lot of identity
Yeah.
flipping around, but they've kind of settled on a cold Krypton, a very like what would be the what is the phrase for a science-tography of like ruled by
tundra?
Well, it's a city ruled by an intellectual elite. Was
Oh,
the
like an
notion of it.
oligarch?
Yeah, very, very much. Where it was all about the data. Like it was a very data-based, and like the notion of people having like deep emotional.
There are a lot of different characterizations of Krypton and the Kryptonians.
And the Kryptonians and how but the one that most people know is the Donner Fortress, which is the one that's always in my head, which is the big crystal blue palace of weird, and it's very alien. He usually has a menagerie. Superman traditionally has an alien menagerie, and he has not quite a trophy room. Well, it's and like he's like commented that he got the idea from Batman, of like keeping things. And so he's got like I think that's where Kandor is, the bottled city of Kandor.
the Bottled
Fortress?
City of
Bottled
Kandor
City of
traditionally is
Kandor.
in one of the rooms of the Fortress of Solitude.
Do you want to do a flashback
One of you
for
do the Bottled City of Kandor.
What?
One of you do the Bottled City of Kandor.
Do you want to do the bottled city? Or should I do the bottled city?
Was Brainiac responsible
I
for
think
the
it's
Bottled City of Kandor?
Brainiac.
It's a city.
It's a city.
So was it from?
It's a Kryptonian.
Now that like it's like describe it, I'm like the Bottle City of Kandor.
It's a city that was on
it was-
Krypton that Brainiac
Captured, right?
captured and
Before
shrunk and put into a
Krypton
bottle like a
exploded.
ship.
It's the good news. It's like getting kidnapped from something that later blows up.
Yeah.
You're like, well, the good
Yay.
news is
The good
I
news is we're
wasn't
still
there
alive,
when it
even though
happened.
we're
Way to Arthur Dent that one.
1/100th of
Yeah.
our size. Yeah.
Yeah, very Arthur Dent.
They were all wearing bathrobes.
Out of the frying pan into the bottle.
But one of the there's the sort of, and as with all things in comics, there have been various treatments of this idea, various solutions to it and undoings of it. But traditionally, it's a city full of Kryptonians, but Superman can't figure out how to untiny them.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
live in their city inside a tiny bottle in the Fortress of Solitude. Which the idea that like this man who cannot get in touch with his people actually has an entire city full of them in like
So
a spare
tragic.
room in his house.
So tragic.
But like it's
weird
sad.
and then there was the one
The
where
Bottle
like,
Kandor.
There's Kendall, and I love that they have a little gas thing. To
It's
like,
right next to the secret identity vault.
so that everyone goes to sleep.
which
at
is
the
where
appropriate
it's on
hour.
level 3, of course.
Duh. Look at
so-
that computer. I just want to admire. We've got computers just
We
like
have
that in
computers
our.
just like that. It's
And
just
those
if there was a
knobs probably
plan.
do the exact same thing.
We're not
Accidentally
supposed to
poison the
touch the
people of
knobs
Kandor.
yet. We're only allowed to touch one knob an episode. So. The Wonka Vader.
Wasn't there a comic, and I don't know if it was Snyder or Jeff Johns who did it, but where like the Bottle City
Scott
was
Snyder, not Zach.
where the Bottle City kind of like grew up, and then there was all these Supermen all over.
There's
Super
also
people,
been a
sorry.
few where
That's
they've
actually-
gone in undercover into Kandor to like deal with political issues in there, and like where they can get in but they can't bring anybody out. They've done a lot with the Bottle City is really an interesting plot device. I've always been a fan
It has
of
played
Yeah.
a role in the current Frank Miller Brand Azzarello Dark Knight 3
Oh,
as
that's,
well.
yes, yeah,
I am not caught up on that role.
yeah. I read the first issue and just wasn't
That wasn't your thing.
my thing.
Yeah, it wasn't your thing.
Wasn't my thing. I love Frank Miller. I love Brian Ezra. Just
I have my moments.
didn't turn my knobs.
No turning of the knobs.
No turning knobs. What else is on the list?
Well, I was thinking about a character who's really well informed by their secret headquarters, and actually a place where the television version of this character doesn't have this thing, which I thought was really interesting, is Green Arrow. And Green Arrow is really interesting because Green Arrow in the comic books has a little bit of a complex about Batman. That is kind of the running gag. Is Green Arrow really kind of wanted to be Batman, but was just not good at it? So, which is why we have an arrow cave. It's an arrow cave. You get it? It's a cave with arrows instead of
Bats.
And,
The pilot to the TV show had an arrow cave, and then they realized that it wouldn't work, and they changed it
because
to
it's
Thank you, Zach.
his underground music club.
because the
Which I
arrow
think
cave.
they still call the Arrow Cave, don't they?
They do. I think they do it
Yeah, they do.
specifically to mock him, though, like because it's mockable. Like so much of what Green Arrow did was kind of adorably mockable.
But he is essentially Batman. I think even the creators of him even pointed at it and said, yeah, he's Batman, but with bows and arrows, because he's a billionaire who trains and he dresses up and fights crime at night. He just happens to be green and shoot bows and arrows instead of black and dressed like a bat.
Nightclubs are also a common base of operations. Now that you bring that up, those pop up mostly for supervillains. But there's like the nightclub base is actually a thing that pops up, and there's like I don't know if this counts, but like Lucifer from the Vertigo books has his nightclub in the comics and the TV series.
Penguin has
The Iceberg Lounge.
Yeah.
The Iceberg Lounge is a great. The Oblivion Bar.
Oh, I don't know that one.
I've
Tell
got
me-
a few of them.
Tell me
I
more
don't know
about
what
These
them.
are
Taliesin.
based in like historical connections between nightlife and like criminal organizations, which are obviously a thing that are a feature of 20th century history,
You know,
or
I
if they're
wonder
just like that
if it's
we're
like
all nerds and we don't trust
like
people to go out
drawing
at
back
night.
to like the sort of like prohibition,
Speakeasy.
where like a speakeasy is like, well, that's a den of iniquity.
Well,
that's
I was-
where the villains would be.
I
Like,
was a big fan of the Dark Side Bar when they were doing the big reincarnation of the New Gods in the DC universe, of the notion of Club Dark Side. It was like where you went, where like all the gods were slowly starting to manifest, and they were stealing children, and like it was really creepy and seedy, and I really dug it. There's also, but like on the other end, there's like what's the bar in the Superman's bar in Metropolis? Is it the oh bloody hell? There's a bar in Superman's world, and I'm blanking on the name.
CC Jitters.
It's a thank you for that. There's a theme restaurant called Planet Krypton
Where?
in Metropolis.
Is there really?
Do you not know about this?
No.
So
Of course I don't.
so there's not that this is a secret headquarters, but this was something that was popped up in Kingdom Come, the book, although it was used several times later, is that they had a superhero themed Hard Rock Cafe called Planet Krypton that was just filled with kitschy fake memorabilia, including like fake pieces of kryptonite and like the rocket ship, a model of the rocket ship that Superman came in. It was just like, and like all the waiters wore superhero costumes. It was amazing.
Here's what I need to do. I need to get a reading list of all the stuff that I've read years ago and all the stuff that I still haven't read, and I need to bring all of those to Burning Man and just spend a week in a
You're gonna
hammock.
go to the most interesting place in the world and read books?
I've
I'm
been.
really into reading books, but
I've been, Amy. I've seen it all. It's fine.
Well, I'm like, yeah, there we go. There's Planet. Look at Planet Krypton right there.
Yay!
Look
Oh my
at
God,
that.
that's
It is
amazing.
just like the best kind of like that terrible flash mask.
if I'm remembering correctly, I think
Oh, Chief, you're
we
on it.
took a look because it ended
Chief
up
is
leaking
killing
online.
it.
We looked at a version of the like unmade George Miller Justice League movie. I might have the wrong one, but there was at least one where they were using a version of this concept.
of the planet
and they
Krypton.
set
Really?
a whole scene in it where like Flash is just eating 100.
There's
hamburgers.
I'm trying to remember. It broke my fucking heart. I'm trying to remember what book it was from, but there was a book of like there was some weird like interdimensional phasing happening in DC when they were doing one of their big reboots, which we've talked about. And Batman sneaks into planet Krypton because there's been like some weird stuff happening, and it's him late at night with like a flashlight going through planet Krypton, like through all this stuff, like trying to figure out like what's changed in the timeline, and like he hits this phased image of like this ghost. There's like ghosts of like other dimensions floating around, and he hits Batwoman, like the original Golden Age Batwoman, and she stops, and he's staring, and he's just, Kathy, and then like gone. And it was like that moment of remembering his wife, and I was like, that is the worst thing. Oh my God, my heart breaks.
Wait, they were married?
They were like, there was a version of them where they were married. Or was it Catwoman or Batwoman? It was Catwoman. It was the yellow.
Batwoman.
It was the one with the yellow shirt and the red mask. That's so ridiculous. We are often.
Yeah, it was that's Kathy Batwoman, I think.
It was like there was one where they had like there was one version of the universe where they had it's DC.
There's totally a story a cover I'm remembering that says something about like Batman's first wife or something like that, and I remember us being like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, to be continued.
To be continued.
Speaking of reading lists.
All right, let me. We've got some questions.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
bring some.
I'm going to throw that out as a way to get us back on.
Back on
track. Miss Sunflower 94 says, "Do you have a favorite feature of Secret Headquarters?" And maybe she means this.
Yeah, no, like the thing in a secret headquarters.
Or the
that's
thing
super
in a
cool.
secret headquarters. Sure.
Is it the computer? Is it the fire? The
Well, I
fire
guess we
pole?
also kind of have
Okay,
to
do you
like.
have a favorite secret headquarters?
Well, mine is. I mean, I think pretty obvious.
Tell us about your favorite secret headquarters.
Tell us of your sanctum.
Do you like any characters that have distinctive places that they live and operate out of that reflect them?
Yes, I do. And his name is Doctor Strange. And
He's not wrong though.
dreamy.
It's a great headquarters.
he's dreamy, and
He is.
Wong is dreamy.
He is.
And they live together in a wonderful house at 177A Bleecker Street.
It was briefly the home of the Avengers.
It was during
And the new Avengers were on the run.
Yeah, New Avengers post Civil War.
They had a giant sign that said Starbucks coming soon.
Depending on the version that you get with the Sanctum Sanctorum, sometimes you can tell what it is from the outside. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes it looks like a dilapidated building, Starbucks coming soon. But most of the time, it just looks like a really awesome mansion.
I always like
on
the
a
notion
corner.
it's like the TARDIS. It like only manifests
Thank you
itself to
for this
people that
map.
it needs. God, and like all of these headquarters have these kind of like blowouts, and I love them.
Yeah,
And I
I
don't
was.
care that it's all wrong
The
immediately.
cool thing about the like that logo window, the green thing up front there, is when we did the Doctor Strange episode.
The seal of the seal of the Vishanti, the Anomaly Rue, the window to the worlds. Yeah.
I was
That one?
startled and impressed when, like, because I had read very few of the earliest Doctor Strange stories. So when I was going through and reading some for a Doctor Strange episode, it was so cool to me that is in place immediately.
Oh, so on that I don't know why, but Ditko loved drawing that. That symbol, that was one of his favorite symbols to draw. If you go back and look at some of his work prior to, like all the Marvel stuff that he was doing, like Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, everything else, you can see that symbol in previous works in like the
That
early,
weird off-pound?
like the 50s and 60s.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I've done a lot of research into this.
Have you?
And that also includes the Eye of Agamotto, the circle with the little circle inside, and then the tiny little circles all around it. And that's because that's a Buddhist symbol with the snails all around it. But he was also a big fan of just that symbology. So that's actually in other things
So like
as well. So
Tell us about the Sanctum. What's in there?
Okay, so the Sanctum Sanctorum is essentially, at its base, it's just a mansion. It's a really nice
But a mansion that fits on a New York street.
a brownstone.
Yeah, it's a
technically
brownstone. It's a brownstone, but like it's
There we are.
one
Look at
giant brownstone.
That's pretty.
Let's see what it settles over real life house of the accursed dark.
Goes to Doctor Strange.
Is this from the Ditko run? It looks Ditko.
I think it's from the Google.
It's from the internet.
Oh, it's from the internet.
Thank you, Internet.
Because I was looking at that going, Strange tells one a lid.
Don't, yeah, you're gonna be that guy.
No, I like knowing my sanctums. It's one of my favorites. One of my favorites. So it's essentially
Name
a giant
that
brown
sanctum.
stone that all belongs to Doctor Strange, but it also exists on a nexus of a lot of like different ley lines of magic and interdimensional energy, which is why the Window of the Worlds is so important, because that is a protective. That seal is a magical shield that protects the sanctum and basically all of Earth from interdimensional incursion. That one little symbol, and Doctor Strange is there to keep it. But it's the Sanctum Sanctorum is terrifying for anybody to go into that does not actually belong there. You can get lost in it. The rooms lead to nowhere, into other dimensions, and to places where Doctor Strange has created a pocket dimension to hold an animal or a beast that is terrifying.
I wonder if anyone did
not
any
open
research
random
into the
doors.
Winchester house when they
Probably
made
so.
the Sanctum
Probably so.
Sanctorum.
Yeah, like it's got stairs that lead to nowhere. Like the movie actually did it relatively well.
I
That
thought
even-
very well. Yeah.
like with the windows that you can turn it to like any place on Earth and everything. Doctor Strange can kind of go anywhere. He's got giant libraries in there filled with magic. He's got his inner sanctum. The sanctum that he goes to is actually where the window is, and he does meditating up there. And
So
People break the window a lot.
Oh yeah, good.
Yeah.
It's got a nice. Oh,
Another
wow,
nice
look at that.
vision.
There's so things that I'm noticing are common are computer terminals, some sort of.
except for
Well,
Doctor
I mean,
Strange.
not for him, but he's got
He's
the
got a
trophy
library.
room.
He's got a giant library.
He's got a
yeah.
library. He's got a trophy room. He's got a window to everywhere. Windows to everywhere, whether they're teleporters or magic or
Or
otherwise.
monitors, electronic surveillance.
A way
yeah.
to get from there to anywhere is
like
often common.
the Watchtower has like the teleportations.
Yeah, the Watchtower has the teleporters.
Yeah.
Which scare I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
There's I was thinking, or one of my favorite headquarters, Danny the Street. I know we've covered Danny the Street a little bit. The whole headquarters can kind of go wherever it needs, into any populated place it needs to be. And I was thinking of a larger version of that. There's an interdimensional headquarters, or an extra-dimensional headquarters for the Authority from Wildstorm. Authority is a Wildstorm
It exists
superhero.
between the dimensions, right?
Yeah, where they have this giant. It's a huge ship that they have that exists like between dimensions. It can actually go to any dimension and it's everywhere at once. And it's so big that they've actually there's thousands of refugees that actually live on it. They use it as a refugee camp many times in the books, which I think is just nuts and great. But
So you also get the alternate modes of is your headquarters one place that you travel back and forth to, or is it a place that moves around with you, essentially like a band living out of a van or something like that?
oh god, the mobile headquarters. Oh.
Yeah. Mobile headquarters.
And you get things like the SHIELD helicarrier, which is a version of that.
This
It's like
is
SHIELD,
helicar-
but it moves in the sky to different places where they do SHIELD things.
Tiny Triskelion. It's just a teeny tiny Triskelion just moving.
It's a
itself
mini
around.
Triskelion.
I'd like to say
Triskelion.
Triskelion. It's such a great phrase to say.
I've always said Triskelion. You say-
Triskelion, Triskelion,
Triskelion.
I've avoided saying it out loud because I don't know.
No, there's so many words that we read and we don't say, and once we say it out loud, we're like, wow, that's
Well,
weird.
that's a terrible word. What,
or
why did the
I was-
why did they come up with that?
I was thinking of another pocket dimension is the Justice League villain Prometheus, who has his
Yeah.
crooked house. I love his crooked house. Prometheus is a great Justice League villain, although he's been used very poorly many times. He was used so poorly that they actually at one point were like, that wasn't really him for the last 19 times you've seen him.
That's a really great way to deal with your comic book problems.
Mikey Mike 3168 says the Punisher's van.
The Punisher van. Oh, which is kind of so perfect for the Punisher is the Punisher van.
So perfect.
Flashback to the trading card episode.
Yeah,
It was
Punisher's
extremely
van.
fun.
Did Spidey have I know he had a mobile, but didn't he have a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle style minivan at some point?
Who?
Spider-Man?
Spider-Man.
Was there a Spider
Well,
van?
he had the spider.
I feel like there was a
spider
Spider
buggy.
van.
What am I looking at?
That's the Punisher van.
That's the Punisher van. That's its.
Is this a
that's-
handbook entry
yeah,
from
this is-
That's a
Punisher's
handbook
Battle Van?
entry.
Yeah,
Look at
this
that.
is a-
Look at that font.
Bless you.
There's so many things labeled in that van. Oh my
Love
God!
it.
Who does that? Oh.
I love
You brought
this
it-
so much.
Oh.
So you have
Oh my God.
distinctive vehicles that are mobile versions of your headquarters are also a thing. Of course, you get the X-Men have the Blackbird, the Avengers have the Quinjet. Did I just reverse those
The
two?
Fantastic Car.
Fantastic Car, a flying
Fantastic
car
Car.
operated by the Fantastic Four. Wonder Woman, of course, on and off, has an invisible jet.
Because
Because some versions of the Amazons rely on them being very technologically advanced.
you brought up the trading cards, and I forgot. Last week or a couple weeks ago, I ordered the DC cards. And they came in the mail yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah, no, we're gonna. I think we're gonna save them for the next round. Or
they're in Danny's office right now. If we wanted to each open a pack, we would just need someone to go get the box.
Is that a crazy thing to do? If we're at the. All right, that's happening. Okay, apparently that's the thing.
Thank you, Liz. Our producer Liz is
I
gonna
thought
go
someone
get
was
that.
coming in to be like, "Don't be ridiculous," and instead
No.
she was like, "I got you."
Well,
I got you.
Here's another one: is teen superheroes.
Yeah.
Teen Titans,
Teenagers
Titan Tower.
need to hang places
All
because
the
otherwise
best
they get
parts
into
of a
trouble.
dorm and a headquarters.
So the Young Avengers didn't really have a place until the later books where they were just hanging in a for briefly they were hanging in a Novar's spaceship for a while,
Yeah.
just like cruising. And then the Teen Titans had Titan Tower, which
had Titan
everybody-
Tower, which was
is
created-
a giant T.
It's a giant
Yeah.
T in San Francisco, and it's great.
It's a giant T.
I forgot, Doom. I'm so sorry. I did a screenshot of Titan's Tower, and they had the
I don't think I
cross
put it in the
section.
file.
I forgot to send that to you because I'm so bad at sending you pictures.
That is maybe my favorite thing about these layers is just getting the little maps.
Oh, I know.
The maps are
Like,
really
I
what
just-
it's all about.
What's funny is it stops the reading. You're just like, here's an adventure. Ooh.
So, like,
okay, yeah.
We were
back
asked
to the
what
adventure.
our favorite thing was, and I've got to say, like, my favorite thing is never a thing that's really in them. It's the thing always that was either in the toys or that I would do with my action, which is that every superhero layer needs a zip line. There's Titan's Tower.
Yay,
Yeah.
I think
Titan's
zip
Tower.
lines. I've never felt more like a superhero than when I have a zip line. Zip lines are like the moment of just like having a big wire to go. Whoa!
Do you just frequently have zip lines?
I would
You
build
said
them.
that as if it comes up a lot.
I would build them out of string and straws. I would cut it.
That's
I would make a
dangerous as
string
heck. Oh, for your
and put a
action
straw and
figures.
make them like,
Yep.
and I would just make them go up and down the zip line, up and down the zip line. I would put them
Yeah,
on a little winch
yeah.
so I could bring them back up and then I'll back down the
Taliesin
zip
was
line.
not zipping down the zip line.
No, although
I
in camp we had
apologize
them.
for going completely on the wrong track. I was just
This is
like, what are
absolutely
you
on
doing?
track. Well done. Well
Do
done.
we want to
you.
do the cards now or
later?
We haven't talked about the X-Men mansion yet.
We haven't talked about
It's
the
my
X-Men
favorite.
yet.
Guys,
The
guys,
X-Men.
we have not talked about the X-Men.
Well, the X-Men mansion has one thing we
She
haven't
found
mentioned.
It. She found the cross-section of Titan's Tower.
Did you
Oh,
really
bring
see
it, bring it, bring it.
Yes, I love it.
Beautiful.
So look, here's one of the things that I
Spiral
love about what they did
staircase.
was that they had to split those floors in two to show like both sides, and you can see the staircase over there to show like the other side of it. I think like I'm trying to figure out the actual architecture of how that works, but
I don't know, but like it definitely gives me like the Monkeys television show vibe,
Yeah.
which is technically, in my opinion, a secret headquarters. Is the Monkeys home?
That's true.
I feel
But this is from the new Teen
meeting
Titans.
room,
This is-
sky
this is
cycle hanger,
post-crisis
garage,
Titans.
hydraulic wrist, storage area with Robin's room, Kid Flash's room, Cyborg's
Oh wait,
room, Wonder Girl's room.
go all the way to the bottom.
Oh my God, they've got a basement.
No, but wait. Boom! Submarine.
Exit to river.
They got a submarine, y'all.
Technically, is it a river? Or is it just exit to the Pacific Ocean?
I
Because
mean,
they're like
it's
off of.
labeled exit to river, which is my favorite thing about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
C.
it's the
Exit to
Pacific
river.
Ocean.
Doesn't
they have
go
a
to the bay.
they have a chemistry lab, which is nice.
Yeah.
That's
That
And
I love.
that they had
spaces for labs.
Robin's room, Cyborg's room, Changeling's room.
That I love specifically because that was one of my favorite things about like being an X kid and reading
Yeah.
lots of those comics
Those
is like
those
getting to
X-Mansion
see everybody's
pulls.
room because it's a school as well as
Yeah.
their base. Like everybody's just got bedrooms. Like the things they keep in there, the way they decorate it. Storm having a room up in the attic full of plants. These ways that you can illustrate character with those small details.
It definitely made me slightly more excited to go to boarding school when I was a kid for like 5 minutes until I got there. I was
Until
like,
you got
oh,
there,
it'll
you're
be
like-
like the X Mansion. Like, no, it really won't.
This is not like the
Oh,
expansion at all.
no.
I have my own room. No, you won't. You'll have a roommate. Oh,
All right. You want to talk about
Thank you for this cross section
Great.
of the X.
oh, look at that.
And of course,
Inside.
these headquarters just have whatever you need them to have. Like,
Sure.
It's famously the X Mansion has burned down, exploded, sunk into a swamp. Every possible thing that can happen to it has happened to it, and they just keep building it again. They once a few years back they moved to the West Coast for a while. They tried outside San Francisco and like the Marin.
Utopia.
They were in the Utopia. They had
Well, there was the Marin facility.
Well, I mean,
and
if
then they
we want
moved
to
to
go
the
all the way
island.
back, there was the unfortunate Australia moment.
Australia
Oh
was
yeah.
fun.
Oh, wasn't there also a
Subways.
Bermuda Triangle one?
Well, there was.
There was they lived on the island. Then Magneto found them or something like that, or it was Magneto's base and then like the Caribbean or.
Well, Magneto has often had like an island or asteroid.
Because he's
on
got Asteroid
asteroids.
M, but I do know, like early on, and like after like Giant Size X-Men and
They were
X-Men
just
'94,
hanging
and,
out
like, that's new
on
run,
Lee
like.
Forster, was that her name? She had a boat, and Scott just went off with her for a while.
Scott
Yeah,
gets
because
weird.
like he lost Jean
We're,
Grey.
okay,
This
we're
is,
getting,
like,
we're getting into
post-Dark
some weird.
Phoenix.
Like, it's
Yeah.
tough to talk about the X-Men because there's a million of them, and they all make bad decisions all the time, which leads to lots of tangents.
True.
Yeah.
But like,
But an interesting journey for a specific
Building.
headquarters to headquarters to headquarters would probably be that Magneto, longtime X-Men villain, who then later goes on switching sides a lot, because over time he becomes a more developed and sympathetic villain who has sort of keeps reforming and unreforming. But at one point he had a bunch of followers or acolytes, and they all lived on their own asteroid called Asteroid M.
They wore really weird purple jumpsuits.
They
And-
went extreme with their fashion choices.
And Colossus joined with them for
a while.
time, right?
Yeah, Colossus was
And
there.
that was pre-Fatal Attractions.
They had a really cool
That made me cry.
teleporter who could like pour through to tech. It was before the adamantium hoo-ha, right?
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
That was
No, you know
the
what?
story
That's
arc
not
that
the
made
part
the
that made me cry.
adamantium hoo-ha.
You want the part in Fatal Attractions that made me
Spoilers for
cry.
Fatal Attractions, early
Sorry,
90s.
Yeah. Read Fatal Attractions if you're an X-Men fan and you've never read it. It's
It's-
mid-90s?
Mid-90s.
Early?
Like
Mid?
94,
If it
95?
isn't, it really should be.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one where Wolverine discovers that he's got bone claws because Magneto finally is like, you know what? Screw you. Suck all your adamantium off your bones and kill you.
Turns out I control metal.
But then as they're like hurtling to through space to like save Wolverine, and he's like on the operating table like dying or whatever, they're like, we're losing Wolverine.
Dying
oh, no.
of not metal
Jean
poisoning.
Grey like gets sucked out of the Blackbird, and Wolverine's love for her hears her screaming, and he wakes up and
is
saves
so
her at the
X-Men.
last second. And like there's this one panel of him just like reaching out the plane, holding on to Jean Grey, and he's like, I got you, Red, or something like that. And as a kid, I was just like, that's true love. That's true love. I love this book so much. Yeah.
That's what made you cry?
Uh-huh.
I love this story.
I like romance. What can I say?
That's
I
amazing.
know you do. I know. There's one thing I know about you.
Long story short, that asteroid gets knocked out of the sky, lands in the ocean, gets dug up out of the ocean with the help of the Atlanteans, and turned into an island base for the X-Men.
For a while, when they're kind of
many years later,
done
when
with people for a while,
They're having
they take a break.
Yeah, but they camped just outside San Francisco, and luckily San Francisco's kind of like, yeah, we're gonna allow it. Sovereign space in the middle of our. Yep, cool.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
San
yeah,
Francisco.
cool.
We're San
Fight us.
Francisco. Yeah, we'll let this.
And
we'll
then
let this
that
happen.
was that when. So is that when Schism happened? When like
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
like it was
But
Cyclops
they were
versus
hanging out on that
Wolverine
island,
versus
getting
Wolverine?
increasingly extreme, and then Wolverine
Yeah.
was like, "I can't believe I'm saying this, but you're getting kind of
Getting
out of
weird.
hand."
Yes,
And Scott was like,
Scott,
"No, I'm not. My
you're a
kids
little-
are soldiers."
Yeah, you're a little
And
out of hand,
that was
Summers.
also during Dark Reign. Okay, so just to give
Yeah.
like this was a whole
This
like
is too
attempt.
much. I just
Yeah.
wanted to
It's
highlight
too
the
much.
base thing.
It's just talking about, but it was
But
a very.
there's
We'll
the
get into Dark
X-Men,
Reign. We'll
there's
get into
so
Dark Reign.
much.
But yeah, but the notion that was like one of the few times where, and then Wolverine went back and started the mansion again, right?
He did. He went back east, started
And that
the
was
mansion,
that
and
was
did the
Wolverine and
Jean
the
Grey
X-Men, written
school.
by Jason Aaron.
There's
Yeah.
one thing we have not
was
mentioned about the
such a good
mansion that
run.
is
I love
actually
that so much.
something that is. It feels like it should be in every secret headquarters, but is not. Is a training room.
The
Oh,
danger
X-Men
room.
have
Is
the
the
best.
danger, and the danger room was like a big deal with the X-Men. Like that was like one of like before the X-Men were even like a popular comic, because they were not popular for a very long time. It was not a it was not a book
They
that
got
sold
canceled
well.
and went into reruns before
Literally.
they even got most of their most popular members.
Can we give that background? I think that's so fascinating.
No,
'cause
do it really quick, yeah.
No, because like Giant Size X-Men #1 in 74, 75 saved the X-Men,
It
right?
did.
Like
The X-Men were done.
yeah. So like here's what. So Stan Lee goes on this epic run. He's like, oh, you need heroes. Here's Spider-Man. Here's Fantastic Four. The Incredible Hulk. You don't like him as much? Avengers. There's Avengers. We're bringing back
Go around.
Captain America. Sure, do it. Doctor Strange.
Early 60s.
Early
60s.
60s. And then he's like,
Creative
here's the
explosion.
X-Men. And everyone's like,
Vital contributions
meh.
from Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko.
Meh. X-Men. Okay, they're cool. So they run for what?
Not
50
long.
issues, 60 issues, and then they start going into reruns.
Somewhere in the 50s, I think.
Somewhere in the 50s. They're literally reprinting issue 1,
As
but
issue
as
51.
issue 65
Yeah.
or something like that.
It's not good.
And then they cancel it all together, late 60s. Then in the mid-70s, the editors and the writers are all talking about it. They rediscovered this property they have called the X-Men.
Did it actually? How much gap was there between issue 93 and Giant Size?
I could have sworn there was like a
I think it was on the edge,
where
and they're like,
doing anything
let's
with
Giant Size it. And Giant Size was their big. They gave Claremont kind of carte blanche.
So they.
Giant Size with Len Wein.
That was Len Wein.
This was
We
Len
didn't have
Wein.
Claremont
I
yet.
stand corrected. I'm
No,
so sorry.
so what happened
This
was.
is an X-Men episode now. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, way to go, Amy.
You've made it into an X-Men episode like you've always wanted.
Like you've always wanted. So the editors were talking. They decided to give it one last shot before canceling it. Len Wein was assigned it. He does Giant Size X-Men.
They take almost the entire original cast and they're like, oh, they all got kidnapped or something.
On an
Here's a bunch
island.
of other characters. Most of them are new.
Was that Krakoa?
That was Krakoa.
Okay, so they're all on Krakoa. Professor X has lost track of them. Scott Summers comes running back. He's like, the X-Men are in danger. I need help to save them. And Professor X is like, I've got a secret team that I almost recruited, and they're all wildly different from you guys. There's a blue furry guy. There's a Native American. There's
The International House of X-Men.
yeah, the International House of X-Men, Giant Size X-Men #1.
This is what
Does really
this is
well.
the
There we
comic that
are.
introduces Colossus, Storm, Nightcrawler, poor Proudstar, and takes a
Reintroduces.
very obscure character who'd just
Hulk
been
villain.
in a random Hulk story called the Wolverine.
Who
and
was also
recruits
created
them
by
all.
Len Wein.
Also created by Len Wein.
So it makes total sense. So Giant Size X-Men #1
Also
is the second
Banshee
appearance.
and Sunfire.
And Sunfire.
Yeah.
But Giant Size X-Men #1 is the second appearance of Wolverine, who had only appeared that one other time, and he wasn't a mutant, and the claws were detachable at that time. But
Yeah, it was. We
it's
ignored
okay,
that.
whatever.
We ignore that.
But then it does really well, and they're like, hey, we want to continue doing it. Lynn, do you want to do this book? And he's like, no, I'm good. And then the assistant in the back's like, I'd like to take a crack at it. And they're like, Claremont, fine, it's yours. And then he changed comics.
And then
history.
Claremont. Yeah. There's a whole documentary about it.
So there's only 4 months between issues 93, which is the last of the reruns,
Okay.
and issue 94.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a very
but there
brief
were a
hiatus.
few
I could've
years of
sworn-
reruns.
I could have sworn it was like a good year.
No,
or
it was.
two.
It was. I think it was just treading water a long time.
They couldn't
But the
figure it out,
Danger
yeah.
Room was one of the things in the original book that actually stood out. Getting back on track.
Oh,
Yeah.
Which was.
Oh, that's right. We're doing Secret Headquarters.
Secret Headquarters.
Yeah.
Which was this big, like next generation holographic room sort of. Except they weren't doing holographs. It was just like big metal arms that would come out and
At
like.
first,
hoops.
yeah, it was like
Yeah.
a
And
robot
blades.
room
Yeah.
that can make challenges for you to hone your powers.
Real
in
quick,
relative
American
safety.
Gladiator style.
Yeah.
Tunizon says, question, but I'm sorry, who's Proudstar?
James Proudstar. What was the original?
It was Thunderbird, right?
It was Thunderbird.
Yeah, he was Thunderbird, and then
In their attempt to make the international X-Men, the whole giant size X-Men notion was to make an international team, and so they had a Native American character. They just killed him in three issues.
Unfortunately, they were like,
They were-
there were various explanations for this where they were like, oh, we realized we had 2 bruiser characters and we didn't really need to. And also there's the explanation where they were sort of like, makes it nice and surprising if one of the members of your brand new cast almost immediately, like you learn that everyone's at risk. Luckily, they eventually introduced his brother and he gets a lot more to do.
Who really became a fascinating character, and I will say, actually having they managed to make that legacy into something really interesting later, of like having like my brother was the guy who got the first guy to get killed on the X-Men team.
Yeah.
And I'm not angry about that. That's not
It's
a
fine.
problem.
It's all fine.
It's all fine. I was also
This is fine.
on that same like weird Native American push. I was also going to mention Man of Bats, because that's one of my most interesting. That's the most interesting.
Is that Morrison?
From the
Older than
Going Through
Morrison.
Time? Oh,
That's
it's-
that's
I
the
thought you made that
international.
up.
That's the International Club of Heroes.
I don't know that.
So
Yo, we're taking a tangent. What's this?
this is only a brief tangent, and it's actually on topic.
Don't listen to
Hey,
him.
someone earlier in the chat said they love our tangents, so...
Tangents are.
I'm
This is,
sorry, I
That
forgot
one person
who you
is
were.
dictating
Speaking
your
of
viewing
tangents,
experience, everyone.
So, Batman for a while had a club of heroes of different. There was like during the kooky Batman era, there were like all the Batmans across the world. There was Italian Batman and a Russian Batman and French Batman, and there was a Native American Batman. And this was called Man of Bats, and I want to say Red Robin was his sidekick. I want to say, or like it was like Redbird and Man of Bats. And Morrison, being Morrison, was like, "This is brilliant. I want to turn a 20th century, 21st century version of this into the book." And so when he did this book, which I really enjoy, called
Return of Bruce Wayne?
Batman Incorporated.
Yeah, I really enjoyed
Batman Incorporated,
Incorporated.
which was the idea of Batman actually franchising. And And
It's the most Morrison idea.
it's the most Morrison idea ever.
We've
'cause
got to
he
do a
loves...
Morrison episode.
Oh, there will be a Morrison episode.
They're
I
all
know.
Morrison episodes. Have you seen this
They're
show?
all Morrison episodes.
All of our episodes devolve into Morrison, X-Men, or Doctor Strange.
know.
Like at some point.
Call us on our shit.
Please, please.
Chief note, fun fact, for every tangent they go on, a mutant angel gets its wings.
Oh, we should go on more tangents.
But Man of Bats was like, and like his reinvention was basically he's a doctor who works at one of the tribes and is basically actually just doing community service and like wears the uniform as kind of a publicity stunt, but only kind of, and has his own like cave, but his cave is just basically his garage, and it doesn't have anything other than just like his shit and his Chevy truck and like his and like
I love this
horses
so
and like
much.
all the stuff that he uses. It's maybe like $6,000 worth of equipment, and it's like that he just keeps and maintains.
He bought it all on Amazon on Prime Day.
It's just stuff he owns and that he uses. It's like just the stuff he uses, and like Bruce Wayne is like, let me fit you up with like all this crazy stuff, and he literally is like, you get any money you give me, I'm gonna spend on the try. Like I'm not taking a dime of that. Well, I figured out how to. I do this for no money. You're wasting money, you idiot. You can do this for nothing. What's wrong with you? And I'm like, and such a great take on the secret headquarters. It's just this guy's garage.
It is kind of perfect.
And like once you realize like that's his whole dig is like I do this for free and you spend a fortune on this idiocy. It's kind of genius.
That's so good.
So there's a whole issue. There's a whole issue of him like breaking up a bunch of like drug dealers in the nation. It's really great. I really enjoy it.
I really liked Batman Incorporated and the whole thing that they did with Damian Wayne at the end of it.
Oh,
and all
God.
that stuff. Like God, that was another one. That
Also,
almost made me
Stephanie, a
cry
great
little
Stephanie
bit.
Brown
Yeah.
story in there as
Yeah.
well. But it's also it's a great way of taking a character that was really like iconically like weirdly. What's the phrase I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Using iconography in a very, very poor fashion because it was very much Native American Batman.
Yeah.
And kind of finding a way of making it work in a way where like, all right, this is at least you've found a way of making this actually something that is not just an embarrassment.
Yeah.
To one of those like, oh yeah, we did that, didn't we?
All right, so I have a quick question. Let's talk about the Danger Room.
Okay, but
Back
we're
to the
back to
Danger
the Danger Room via my distraction, which was that I just had to look it up. It wasn't in the issue 50s. It was issue 66 from the original X-Men was the last one of new stuff.
66.
And what you are probably remembering is that like they ceased publishing original material and featured reprints in issues 67 through 93, but that's a full 5 years.
That's
That's
what
essentially
yeah.
like 5
They
years of
were doing
reruns
5 years of
is
reruns,
like being
yeah.
canceled.
Yeah, essentially. And
yeah.
then
What a weird thing to do.
as they were coming up to we're going to cancel this, they were like, let's give it a Hail Mary, let's change up the team, let's maybe address some of the things that the fans have said about, hey, they're all pretty boring actually. Like, can we change it up a little bit? A little bit. Like, come on, like look at the new team. Like look at the new team
mean,
versus the
yeah,
old team.
they're-
Like
And
they're
then we
real
got
good.
like the holographic Danger Room, and we
Yeah.
So yeah, the Danger Room got technology upgrades over the years in many, many interesting ways. Oh, this is a graphic callback to last week when we
So
were putting
pretty.
together
so pretty.
our trading cards.
That's what I want to do on Minds and Crafts, by the way.
Did you see
Fight
what I left on
monsters
your
in the
desk?
Danger
I
Room?
want to
Yes.
take those and make like a triple layer,
Did
like
I-
the whole picture.
Did you see what I left on your desk? I left.
I
that
haven't been
completed-
anywhere near my desk today.
I left on Monday when I was in here. I left the completed puzzle on your desk.
Oh god, I
'cause
hope Liam didn't rate it. Liam was sending pictures from my desk going, "This is mine and this is mine." I'm like, no.
Yeah, I went through all the cards and I put them all in order. Like I took
Oh,
all
no,
the
you
cards home,
didn't.
I put them all in order, and I pulled out all of the Danger Room cards and
I have a bunch of other
we
ones
had
too
like
that I
we had
bought.
70 of the Gambits kicking. Those kicking cards, we had like 70 of those. So you can do a lot with the Gambit.
We're gonna do like a 30-layer. No, we're not.
Yeah,
But like. we'll do something with the game.
I need to go through. I'm going to go through my own home collection and find the doubles that I have of the Danger
Let me know
Room,
because I think
so
the
that you
Danger
can play
Room
with that
build
on
could be a
Minds
lot
and
of
Craft.
fun.
Yeah.
That could be a lot of fun. But yeah, the Danger Room also holographic. It went sentient briefly. They made a sentient Danger Room that eventually turned upon them and became its own character,
yeah, weirdly.
named Danger Room.
One of my favorite writers, not one of my favorite stories, even though like I love her as a character and became very fond of her.
Yeah.
But there was a whole like when you reach for moral complexity, you're going to get some people who are really excited about it, and other folks like me who get just sort of defensive on behalf of the characters. Where you're just like, yeah, this would be really cool if they did a terrible thing 50 years ago and they've been hiding it ever since. And I'm like, whoa.
Let's back up. Back up.
That's a big deal. Joss Whedon, I love you and everything you do, but
Danger,
I don't know.
Danger, like weirdly turned into like a strangely adorable character.
Yeah, but I fell madly in love with her.
Yeah,
so
it's
it
hard not
worked
to
out.
like the living it. And who knew the Danger Room was a she? That was exciting.
Oh, that was so.
She reminded me of Warlock also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is another techno-organic.
And I was seeing like
character.
shades of Jocasta in there.
A little bit of Jocasta. A little bit
Visions.
of Jocasta.
Is it? It wasn't a wife, was it? Like
It was.
Ultron made himself a
It was a weird
Yeah.
attempt at like
companion
creepy girlfriend.
robot.
yeah, like a Bride of Frankenstein sort of.
Very
Yes,
Bride of
very
Frankenstein.
Bride of Frankenstein.
Also
But
with
then
interesting hair.
she also went on to become an Avenger.
Yeah.
All of Ultron's children betray him.
It's as if there's a theme.
All Ultron knows how to do is try to take down that which created him.
Ultron
could he
Ultron
teach?
is an
Like-
artificial intelligence created by a man who has a lot of problems with his social interactions.
true,
Of course, he has nothing but terrible children.
That is
Hank Pym,
true.
guys, not Tony Stark.
Hank Pym,
Not
yeah.
Tony Stark.
Although
Hank
they
Pym.
both have some
Hold
self-loathing
on,
going
actually.
on.
Hank Pym, the worst hero.
Oh, poor Hank.
Poor Hank.
Get you yet, man.
Hank Pym is Chief's favorite character. So
Hank
I had
Pym's your favorite character?
Well, him
It's a tough
and
life.
Janet. Ant-Man and the Wasp as a team.
No, I feel it. I mean, like at the same time, I'm so amused that like he was literally taken out in the Skrull invasion by a Skrull posing as a
Water
as a
guy?
college student who wanted to shag him. It's so sad.
Chief. I was just kidding. By the way, I don't think he's the worst. I actually really like. I just
I'm
wanted.
not
Folks, this
bringing
is
him.
a whole different episode.
That's a whole other episode.
Poor
I just wanted to get
Ant-Man.
your goat, Chief.
So, he says it's gotten. Y'all
gotten.
can't hear. It's great. We haven't even
Gaius
talked about
Freeman's-
Avengers Mansion.
Gaius
No.
Freeman says Ultron waifu.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, Ultron. Although
But better than that, and goes on her own, and it doesn't work out. It's great.
the most
No,
recent
being with
the most
Ultron
recent
doesn't
iteration of Ultron's been really interesting. We may have to go into like a robots in comics at some point, but like
Oh,
that might be a thing. 'Cause I've
yeah,
been really
or
digging
like
that.
AI. Yeah.
But
Good. All right. Yeah. Avengers Mansion, Avengers
well,
Tower.
like in the
So then-
X-Men. I mean, like let's finish up X-Men since we're there
yeah,
in the mansion.
we've
Gives you a
actually
lot of-
haven't really talked about it.
No,
we
no,
just
no.
keep going on tangents.
I've just the X-Men will eat this episode. It's great. So yeah, but like my favorite thing about it is them having their own rooms, their personal spaces.
Storm lived on the top floor. She had the
lived on
attic
the top
room.
floor, had all the plants.
she had like her
Twilight.
own little greenhouse. Yeah.
choices that made her feel at home and comfortable in this
Well,
unfamiliar
and
space.
she had to have like the giant open space because she's claustrophobic.
Yeah.
I mean, she can be in like a bedroom, but
Yeah,
she's,
but like
you know,
the
happier.
bigger the space, the happier she is, and we like our Storm happy.
And now they must have like they must have like dormitories now because they got a lot of students. Like it wasn't really a school, really.
It's an interesting thing. The role of the X-Men school has been dramatically different in different times. Like the original Academy for Gifted Students, somehow they thought that it wouldn't look
5
weird that there were like
students.
6 of them. But I think it's harkening back to sort of an older, like maybe even British model of like, so-and-so
Boarding
runs a
school,
boarding
yeah.
parlor. He has 20 students. Like it's just,
Yeah.
not boarding parlor, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But you know, in England, public school means private school, and private school means public school.
Yeah, it's such a
one of
such a
those
mess.
where like people would just be like, it's so and so's establishment, and they've got some students, and I think that's the tradition they were really drawing on for that.
Egg cups. What is wrong with you people? Okay.
I did see that going around on
I
Twitter,
know,
and it
I
was so funny.
I will say one of my favorite incarnations of the X Mansion was the Jason Aaron run, where a small piece of Krakoa, like Krakoa Jr.,
Is now the
Which
garden.
is a living island, and of course,
Was-
was the
villain of Giant Size X-Men #1.
yep.
but they what was it? They brought like a piece of it back, or a piece of it somehow made
And
its way to the
Krakoa
mansion.
was now the security system.
And it was the security system, and because
Was the grounds were
grounds around the X-Mansion were literally sentient, so like invaders would run up and be like, "We're gonna kill all the X-Men," and then the ground would just like a giant rock face would just eat them.
Yeah.
I love the Bamfs. There was the Bamfs for a while.
the
They
little
had
This
an
is one of my
infestation of
all-time
Bamfs.
favorite runs.
Bamfs were
Yeah.
amazing.
I love
loved
the Bamfs.
They were
They
like
are tiny
weird,
nightcrawler guys.
Tiny nightcrawlers.
Where? Help me out. I've tried to figure out where they came from. Where did they first
Well,
start?
technically speaking,
Those are 2 different questions.
Those are 2 different questions.
I love you all so
Technically
much.
speaking, there was a Nightcrawler stuffed animal that his girlfriend made him.
Yeah.
Because she thought he needed she wanted a cute, cuddly Nightcrawler when he wasn't around.
See, I remember
so
that.
His creepy witch girlfriend, who I can't
This
remember
is
her name
beautiful.
of. Yeah, oh yeah, those are baby Bamfs. Made him a doll called a Bamf.
Yeah.
But then Nightcrawler basically goes to like a hell dimension when he teleports. There's like a weird.
That's
and
why
these
the
are little
brimstone
creatures
smell
that
and
kind of
everything,
like manifest from there, but they're benign. They're just like what are they called? Pukas. They just like get into the works and like
little
dump things up.
gremlins almost.
I'm still
Yeah.
trying to remember the name of his dang girlfriend.
I know, I want to say
Alicia
Alyssa,
Silverstone?
No,
No.
she was a witch from the X-Men canon. She was one of the magic users of the
But
X-Men.
it was
Yeah,
his,
it's killing me,
his
too.
childhood girl from the circus, right?
Yeah, and
Amanda
she, like,
Sefton.
Thank
Thank you.
I had to look it up.
It was
I'm not
like
gonna lie.
he showed up was like
You
and
had
like,
the right, actually, letters. Alicia Silverstone. You were way closer than you thought you were, probably.
Yeah,
with that
I probably
suggestion.
actually remembered it somewhere in my subconscious.
You were thinking
like-
of Alicia Masters, and you said Alicia Silverstone, and you were really close to Amanda Sefton.
Yeah.
The first Bamf I remember was like her at home, and like she comes in and he's teleported and he's like on the couch like.
And he's
with
on
it.
the
like,
couch, yep.
Hey, honey, I know you've been like you've had.
I've
this
always
stuffed
wanted
animal
that
ready for the
shirt.
real
I
thing.
saw
I'm
that
like,
shirt at Comic-Con
"Aw."
years ago and should have bought it.
And this is a prime example of comic book storytelling where one person puts in something they think will be cute, like, oh, a stuffed animal, and somebody later is like, that was a really cool visual, what can we do with it? What if they start following them here? And a third person later is like, what if we weave a whole mythology for them and what they're able to do and where they came from and why they showed up? And
We stand on the shoulders of the giants.
Comic books are like the best use of the literary theory of the exquisite corpse. That is like it is basically the living exquisite corpse.
yeah, I demand a tangent for you to tell me what that is.
Exquisite corpse is a writing exercise where you write a paragraph of a story and you hand that paragraph to another writer and then write the next paragraph and then you cover the first paragraph and you hand.
Oh,
that to
this
the
is
next
what we
writer.
used to do at parties.
Yeah,
When
or
in junior
artists
high,
do it
'cause
as
we
well.
were
Yes.
extremely cool.
Is where you do a piece
So
of you do a
cool.
couple panels of a comic book and then you hand it to somebody else
Yeah.
who does the next and you keep covering it
They
and
were
just see
I
where
mean,
bonkers.
it's the same sort of like concept of the improv game, like word at a time, where it's
Mm-hmm.
like, hi, you are like you
weird.
know, yeah.
and you just that's
Yeah.
one of my favorite endings of Community does that. And but it's just Troy going and but yeah, but like so they had these little demons in the X Mansion for a while. Now they have like hundreds of students. Now it's a real school.
They're back.
Yeah.
They've gone
Morrison
bigger
turned
and
it into a
smaller
real
over
school.
time.
Yeah.
Morrison
Oh, yeah,
was
New-
one
with
of
New
the
X-Men,
made it a big
absolutely,
school.
yeah.
It closed again. It opened again. It got smaller. It got bigger.
He was the first one to make like a real, other than like the New Mutants new class of like here's 10 new students.
Yeah.
He was the first one to say, has anyone ever been like weirded out? And he would in interviews, he's like, was anyone ever weirded out that there weren't like
Hundreds
150
of students, yeah.
students at this school, like a normal place?
That's the
Like
th-
a
that's the
private
thing-
school?
That's the thing I love about Morrison so much is that it seems like he kind of like observes all of it, the giant run of whatever it is he's playing with, and goes, "Here's the thing that is missing, and here's how I'm gonna."
He's
tweak it.
very good at like looking at it from a new angle and being like, why has no one ever?
And then like after he looks at that new angle, every writer after him's like, "Yeah, that's
Oh,
actually
yeah.
a pretty cool angle."
Yeah.
No, and there's positive and negatives to say about a lot of the things he
course.
does, but like I was not reading X-Men until he came on because X-Men had gotten very, very dry for me. And like his revitalization of the book was the new X-Men run brought me back to the X-Men in a big way.
You and a lot of people.
You know, a lot of people. And I know it's,
Emily says, people of the Wednesday Club, we should do a group exquisite corpse, yes? Do that on Discord.
yeah,
You
no,
know-
Go
welcome
do an
to the
exquisite
Discord.
course.
This is like what
Yeah.
Tumblr's for.
Yeah.
Yeah, go do that.
God, all the
Entertain us!
Yay.
dance.
Just make us think. This is a whole plot for us to make you make us things.
Yeah. No, this is all I've ever wanted was a
So let me
crocheted
ask you
doll.
this: who was your now that we're on the X-Men? Who was your favorite Morrison character from the X-Men?
Guys, secret headquarters. I want to have infinite X-Men episodes.
God, I don't even know where to start. There were so many good things that he brought to the X-Men.
Was it Herman? Is it Herman Blob?
I don't
Herman
actually.
Glob?
This
What's
is
his-
the
what's
easy
his
one
name?
for me. It was fucking Choir.
course
Quentin
it's
Choir
Quentin
was the
Quire.
best
Of course
thing.
it was Quentin.
Of course, it's Quentin Quire.
No, but like,
purple mohawk.
well,
over
I mean,
there.
like he really like Quentin Quire was like such a good idea for a villain because we were waiting for a.
Is he a
there
villain?
Well, at the time he was.
Yeah.
He's not a villain anymore, but he was. I mean, like that was the first time. You're like, what do you do when you get a student who's not like you're the best? They had
Yeah.
never actually done
Well,
a
there had been
student.
precedent for that. Danny Moonstar fought with Xavier a lot.
Yeah, but it was not a you're wrong and I'm smarter.
She was never like out to topple the institution of him exactly.
Yeah, and
She
the
just
whole
didn't
notion
wanna-
of somebody like burning the place down right at Xavier's is such a and he's such a broken. He's a beautiful broken mess of a boy, and I love the cuckoos.
Yeah.
Oh,
Does
yeah,
Deptford
yeah.
Cuckoos get introduced in that run?
I'm a big fan of the cuckoos. I'm a big fan of. There's so many.
I feel
of them.
like they got even more interesting later. They are
Oh,
well
yeah.
used
Yeah.
by later writers. Brian Michael Bendis actually did a lot of really great work. With
Really
them in
great
his,
work for the Cuckoos.
X-Men
Did he
run.
also do Beak?
Beak
I
was
love
his.
Beak.
Love Beak.
One of my favorite things about Beak is future Beak, where he's just like ripped and like
that's his son.
awesome. Oh, that's his son. I always thought it was him. Like
No,
growing up,
because
in the
that's like
future.
way in the future, and he's like, you knew Dad? Like it was like.
Oh,
You're
I
like,
missed
your
that.
father was yeah. Beak was great. I love
always
the
loved
New
Beak,
Angel.
yeah.
I like a bunch of what he did.
Yeah.
Those kids were great.
Guys, those kids were really great.
They
Yeah.
still
All
are.
right,
and they
secret
still
headquarters.
And those kids, yeah, the Danger Room and the X and as somebody, there's been a run going on. I'm going to bring it up briefly. I know
Okay.
that is that as somebody pointed out, there are no handicapped ramps in the X Mansion.
I saw this article going around, and it's a really
It was one of those
point.
pieces of clickbait where I'm like, I'm not going to give them a click, and I read
Okay,
it.
so
And I read it, and it is fascinating that there is, and I can see how it happened, which is that no one was really thinking about it, and you don't need to think about it when you're drawing it because you're drawing a mansion and characters in it, and if Professor X has to be at the bottom of the stairs, you just draw him there. And if he has to be upstairs, you just draw. You don't actually have
You
to
assume
figure out
that the handicap ramp is off frame somewhere, maybe. Yeah.
But you don't really. You're not thinking about it at all. You're drawing a mansion and people in it. You're not thinking about the kineticism.
You know what? The 90s actually handled.
we were talking
Do
about
it,
this.
do it, because this
The-
is interesting.
The 90s
because they
actually
cover
handled
this.
the handicap ramp with Professor X by giving him a hover chair.
Well, and then here's the thing. And here's the
I brought up
interesting
the hover
thing.
chair before
The hover
me,
chair.
oh, sorry.
No, that's what's great. Because he did this.
The two things I'll say about the hover chair, which are interesting, is that the hover chair was not invented as a way around that problem. It
No, it wasn't.
It was
It's an
invented
accidental way to do
because
it.
Jim Lee hated drawing wheels on it. He was like, "This is complicated and hard. I'm just going to give it a big bubble,
That's like.
and this just makes my life easier."
Oh my
But the
God.
thing about the hover chair that I love the hover chair. I think it's a beautiful aesthetic choice. I've always thought of it as a very negative character choice, and the article covered this a bit as well because it turns Xavier into a bit of a tank.
Mm-hmm.
Like he got very, very thick and bulky from it, and it lost the frailty of the character. Like I'm okay with him walking
Mm-hmm.
so long as he's using a bit of a cane, just because the whole idea of the powerful mind, weak body.
Yeah,
but
I
you put him
actually
in.
Yeah, I was
you
actually
know.
never a giant fan of the hover chair, because I
love it in theory.
My first X-Men comics were those comics where he was in a hover chair. So for a good couple of years of my comic book fandom, that was just what
I
he
didn't
always
blink
had.
at it because I was like, oh, he's got a
So
hover chair.
He's got a
But-
really awesome hover chair. That's cool. But then when I started seeing him in a wheelchair and everything else, I was like, I actually kind of think I prefer the wheelchair.
Yeah, the wheelchair's kind
Well,
of.
and not to take this into sort of a sad place, because it's fun to rip on this stuff, and I'm usually, I spend a lot of my time on team, I'm glad they tried, when it comes to sort of representation and other stuff in
there are
comics.
two interesting ways they bullshitted around it, but yeah.
Usually I try to do a lot of look, they were going for a good thing, but there are moments where sort of
Bless their
we can
heart.
be jokey about it, but sometimes you come to a place in comics where you're like, wow, you didn't. This sort of accidentally shows off that you never thought seriously about you're depicting someone in a wheelchair, but you haven't thought about what their life would be like.
No.
And that is showing in your work, and that's not necessarily your finest example of craft, or
No.
and it's kind of a shame.
Yeah,
But,
and the two pickups they did eventually is that in some of the breakdowns there's like a series of tubes to move people up floors that have never actually really been shown off very much in the books.
Pneumatic tubes are extremely advanced.
Very, very advanced pneumatic tubes. And the other
I've
one
seen
was
Brazil.
someone was like, well, maybe he had just Jean Grey
Levitate him everywhere.
all the time everywhere, which I'm like, poor Jean, really. That's a lot to place on somebody who died several times as well.
Fuffy Butt says, I thought the hover chair was too big to fit through the doorways. And I
So
actually
does
admit,
look like
I
it.
have to admit,
that was
I
the
had
problem.
that thought a few times too. It was like,
did too.
Is it, but will
It's-
it fit through that door?
It's so
Is there any
aesthetically
bathroom you
pleasing.
can go in that thing with?
It's built in. That's what the big dome.
That's what the big dome-
Sorry, that's my. I mean, why wouldn't you though? Really? No, it was basically. It looks like they decommissioned like a MODOK and just turned it into a chair. It was very
Google
MODOK.
MODOK.
Google MODOK. I'm not even going to tell you. Google
MODOK.
MODOK.
Is
Enjoy.
it George Tarleton. Is that his real name?
It's been a while.
I think it's Tarleton. It's Tarleton something.
They cover it in that run of Secret Avengers. It's the best run of Secret Avengers ever. But we'll get to at another point where he falls in love with Maria Hill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, MODOK falling in
Poor
love with
MODOK.
Maria Hill is an amazing story arc.
Mental organism designed only for
killing.
computing/killing.
Recording him for the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 game was so magical.
Wait, you did that?
No, I directed it. I didn't do
Oh,
the
okay.
voice, but like it was just.
I was like, I want to hear his
Yeah.
voice.
I like murder is candy. I am MODOK. Oh God, why am I doing that? I did like 2 screamers this week. I shouldn't be doing.
What's a screamer?
That's where you get paid money to go into a room and scream bloody murder for 3 straight hours, 2 days in a row.
Can you even? Oh.
That's why I sound a little.
All right,
raspy.
so back on track. I've got us.
it's a
So
thing.
secret headquarters.
Yeah.
Owifig says, "What's the best cover story for a secret base?" Like,
Ooh. Oh, original Shield base in the barbershop.
Was there a wait? No, what? What?
I think in Nick Fury's first appearance, he gets recruited and he goes.
It was in the secret. It was in the secret.
They do a nod to it in
they do?
like all the time.
The Secret Warriors, or was his that weird team? That
Probably.
what was that book with the Phobos? What was the name of that
oh,
book?
Secret Warriors?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a barbershop in Secret Warriors.
I think original Nick Fury like goes through, and there's a
Do you mean like original 60s Nick
60s
Fury?
Nick Fury.
Oh my god.
Enters,
remember
and I
that.
might be crazy. Someone check my math here, but like they didn't spend a lot of time with that, but it was yeah.
Oh my God!
I got a little surprise party to plan for Hydra.
Smoking a pipe. Oh God! Look at that.
Oh, and
Oh,
I
my
love
life
him
is just-
disappearing. Bye, guys.
My life's just changed. She's like full Sweeney Todd there.
Oh,
Holy
And there's
shit.
it's like a little old lady who like welcomes him to the barbershop before he knows where it's going. Anyway,
Oh
That's
my
so
god.
Archer. That's so Archer.
Meaning of Night says Amy just whipped that barbershop reference out
What?
so fast.
sorry.
Oh, you're a monster.
Oh my god. Oh, that's amazing.
Oh my God! Oh my God! There's more.
Yeah,
Captain America needs a shave and a haircut.
it's so good.
That must be the greatest barber in the world. I'm so excited.
Oh my god, that's super funny.
Oh, I love that. I love that so
Well, I think
much.
you just won that.
Oh
There
yeah.
could be other answers. There's like
I mean, I loved it when the Sanctum Sanctorum was going to be a Starbucks, but
yeah.
Yeah. Now, like soon to be at your local Starbucks was pretty spectacular.
real quick, 177A Bleecker Street was.
Is it a real place? Can we go there?
It's a real place. You can actually go there. You can look it up on Google Maps.
Geek and Sunday, will you send us to New York?
Let's do New York Comic Con. It'll be
There's-
great.
It's just like an office, kind of like office-y brownstone.
Hmm.
But at the time, I want to say that like 2 or 3 Marvel letterers or something like that were actually living there.
Awesome.
So they
I
just
can't
like
remember exactly. I remember it was in Sean Howe's book, the Marvel biography. He talked about that. I can't remember exactly who, but like 2 or 3 guys were all living together in the same flat in that building, and Ditko liked those guys. So he's like, yeah, Doctor Strange lives at your address. I hope that's okay. But that was also when it was a 6-issue like backstory,
Yeah.
6-page backstory, and was like, it'll never get picked up. And then like 2 months later, the fans were like, Stan was like, Ditko, we need another Doctor Strange story. The fans really like it.
Excalibur had the X-Mansion. The
Excalibur did?
No, Excalibur had the lighthouse. I'm
They
sorry,
had the lighthouse,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, it's a
Madrox.
picture of Bleecker Street.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
look at
there
that.
it is. Yep, see, 177A.
That's beautiful.
There is, and you can ask Brittany. She's here. She's outside.
Hi, Brittany.
You can ask Brittany. There is the one time I've been able to visit New York, I went to Bleecker Street Pizza for
Just
Doctor
for that?
Strange. Yep, and I have a box, the lid of the box of the pizza place, up in our kitchen next to our fridge because.
Well, there's
Doctor
also
Strange.
the Hellfire Club wasn't New York. The Hellfire Club was Boston. I want to
I
say.
always thought that was New
They had
York.
branches in multiple cities. I don't know if one was the main one.
There was a main one. The Hellfire Club, which is an X-Men villains club, and also eventually turned into a mutants like adult strip club kind of thing. In one of the best
from
issues
a time
of
where
X-Men
sort
ever.
of like secret societies and gentlemen's clubs seemed like not too far apart.
No, and the Hellfire Club, the historical Hellfire Club, is really interesting.
Wait, there's an actual historical.
It's a
yeah.
real
club?
Hellfire Club.
Yeah, he's told me about it before.
Hellfire
yeah.
Club was a real thing. Yeah, no, it's a thing. It is absolutely a thing. I know, Ben Franklin was a member. They had at the time, from what I recall from like the weird ass books that I read, I can't find any of this on the internet anymore, but like from some weird ass books I used to read because I was that kid. They had at the time the world's largest collection of pornography, collected pornography. It is in theory, well, although this is
I was
still.
going to ask why Franklin joined, but now I know.
Now you know. They were one of the first to have the lanterns, and like the whole thing kind of like went bad when a monkey escaped during a party and things got weird. There's some weird stories about it, but it was there was also it's apocryphal. I couldn't find enough sources to feel really, but I'll tell it because it was a fun story. That's apparently where the poker game, where the sandwich. I know some people debate whether or not the sandwich was actually named after the Earl of Sandwich getting irritated at a poker table.
Neat!
So, but apparently that was the Hellfire Club basement where they were actually playing cards, and they were like, I want to have dinner. Like, we can't serve you dinner down here, sir. This is the poker game. So he's like, all right, bring me all of this stuff on the appetizer menu and bring me a loaf of bread. And so that became the sandwich special, which was what you could order down in the poker.
That's a great story!
That may not be true. We really don't know, but like I found it in a weird book of Hellfire Club information of the history of like pre-film pornography. I was reading weird books as a kid. I was in detention, but I was excited to see that there was
Can you imagine a time
actually.
where Taliesin had weird interests?
I was.
Yeah.
I had to spend a lot of time in detention in junior high school.
Why were you in detention so much?
I don't remember what I did anymore.
What did you do, Quentin Quire?
I really,
Yeah. No
I
wonder he's your
really don't
favorite.
remember what I did, but whatever I did, I'm pretty sure I deserved it.
Riot at whatever school that was.
That was that's a. I'm
I
not
don't know
gonna
what
say it
this
out
says
loud.
about me, but it is bothering me that I cannot remember if Hellfire Club Dark Phoenix Saga was New York or Boston. It's like really
I think it was
bothering
New
me.
York.
Was like because
But it
you
might
said
have
But
been
they
Boston.
kidnapped Kitty from Chicago.
Chicago, and I.
But
and I
where
think
did they go to the
original-
concert?
Because they see Dazzler. I think they get Dazzler in New York, don't they? Or is
Yeah,
it
because
Detroit?
well, that's the X Mansion is in.
so you
New
guys
York.
know what we're talking
X
about.
Mansion's in upstate New York.
So you guys know what we're talking about. The Dark Phoenix run, which was like one of the
We're
great.
still
Claremont
talking
runs.
about X-Men.
I know, because we talked about the Hellfire Club. This is
They
just
do
quick
have a
tangent.
secret lodge.
They
It's
do have a secret lodge, and it was like
related.
Well, it's the notion. I was trying to think of other bars and clubs, and the Hellfire Club, because that's now basically kind of a mutant strip club now. It's weird.
It's not exactly.
There's a whole issue where they're like looking at mutant stripper, where like Cyclops is getting drunk, like at being hit on by us. It's amazing. It is one of my favorite. Have you never read the Wolverine and Cyclops and get drunk in a bar together? It is an amazing issue because it's this like psychic stripper and Cyclops basically going, I'm so sorry, but I keep looking at you and thinking about your boyfriend at home and your sweatpants and how this is like a day job and some weird financial interaction that's like really unsexy, and I'm just making it awkward and weird now, and I don't like, this is nothing but like really uncomfortable for me. And she's like, wow, you know how to kill a mood. He's like, it's my mutant power. It's such a it's so good.
We should reserve
Oh,
a
yeah.
future episode for sort of like
Just Scott.
nightlife. We'll talk about we'll talk about
Just
Guy, when
Scott.
Guy Gardner owned a bar.
Oh God.
Oh, my God.
Guy Gardner's a whole nother episode.
Japan Rose says, "I am a historian. This is true."
Really?
The sandwich thing?
That's what Japan Rose says.
Yeah, no, I love I've got a whole interesting book on the Hellfire Club because I thought that was fascinating.
Taliesin, you have a lot of interesting books on a lot of
Culpering,
things.
man.
I've been to your house. I've seen it.
But like the notion of running a school is a really fascinating cover for like, or like vague cover for a
You know
superhero
what my
team.
favorite thing about the X Mansion?
Yeah.
The-
I mean, I don't, but
Yeah, you do.
yeah.
The widescreen television.
Don't even
and
bother
the kitchen.
telling
Yeah.
us.
No, the fact that the Blackbird
Comes
was
out of the
underneath
basketball
the
court.
basketball court, and the basketball court would open, and then it would take off. I don't know why in my head I remember a panel where they were playing a game and then they had to go on an emergency mission. Am I remembering something incorrectly?
I mean, the
No,
X-Men play a lot of sports,
like,
and they're always interrupted by
Baseball and
emergencies.
basketball
So this
being
sounds
and
legit.
like pool and like the pool, the baseball, the basketball.
Yeah.
It's what they're about.
and now the
tennis.
Quidditch table that we insist exists.
Oh yeah, we should do that now. You guys, we want to do like some like 5-minute topics. So like, if you guys, by the way, have some things that you want to watch us like attempt to keep on topic for 5 minutes for, which I think is
Actually, that would be kind of a funny.
hilarious.
That would actually be kind of
The
a
challenge.
funny challenge.
One topic, 5
throw,
minutes.
throw
Yeah.
them in, throw them in chat and let us know, and we're going to attempt this. So
We're
like, feel
trying a
free.
thing. We're gonna set.
We're trying a
In
thing.
the future, we're gonna try it.
We have somebody collecting the suggestions from chat for the next 5 minutes.
So and
You've
For
got
the
5
next
minutes
5
to give
minutes,
us.
Give us suggestions for something that you want us to just be like 5 minutes on topic X,
we're
Go.
gonna give it an attempt because this is hilarious.
and we're gonna see what happens.
I haven't even talked
Yeah.
about like there's so many other like great like we haven't talked about Avengers Mansion, which is weirdly public.
Yeah.
Doesn't have
and
a
Avengers
doesn't
Tower is
have
like
a trophy room. They just have like a gallery.
like a painting gallery too.
There's
like
sometimes like a back room full of artifacts in Avengers Mansion, isn't there?
But it's never like really on display. Like they're
Yeah.
not like trophy collectors like the Justice League, and it's a lot more like homey. It's like a golf club, less of like it always feels like a place where like a golf club
The only part
Yeah.
of it that's home is Jarvis being there.
is
Yeah.
is Jarvis the Butler.
Well, and then there's also like
Hey,
Look at that.
gorgeous.
and then there's also West Coast Avengers who had another mansion in the Palisades.
I genuinely can't remember anything about West Coast Avengers.
I actually revisited it a little bit today.
Oh.
The four issue mini run.
Oh,
Where it was Hawkeye and Mockingbird leading the team.
oh,
That was also composed of Tigra and
oh,
Wonder Man.
oh.
Shroud came in at the very end. Everyone remembers Shroud. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
Who else was on that
no,
team?
no, you
It
don't.
wasn't
I
great.
don't remember Shroud.
But George Perez did the art, and it's
know,
beautiful
it's
and
so
wonderful.
pretty.
So yeah, that was. It wasn't the best, but Graviton was. he was in it.
He was in it. Yeah, and like Avengers Mansion is weird because people protest outside. They've got the statuary garden in the back.
Oh yeah.
Of like
Fallen Heroes.
The Fallen Heroes, yeah.
Weird.
Which is weird and a little disconcerting.
I guess it's not that weird. That's just literally a cemetery with no bodies.
It's a
in it, but-
cemetery with a lot of statuary, yeah.
Yeah.
And
We should do an episode on
there,
cemeteries of comic books.
I love that image of like everyone
love
waiting for the new Avengers to be announced on like in front of the Avengers
But
Mansion.
that is
They
kind
have
of
a lot
a.
of press conferences at
Yeah.
Avengers Mansion.
They're always announcing the new members
Yeah.
and everything.
It's like a thing.
But there is something that's really cool about the fact that the Avengers are very public. Like, we're a public
They
institution.
have an address.
Yeah.
They have an
You
address.
can come visit us. You can
show
protest
up
us.
and,
Yeah.
and
You can
talk to them.
Stand outside the gates and,
And
yell
yell.
at us.
Yeah.
And people do. And like
people
Captain
do.
America's like, don't tell them. Like, there was a whole thing of like, should we disperse the crowd? He's like, absolutely not.
This is America.
This is it's very much. This is America. They have every right to be out there telling us to leave. Like we let them be there. We let them do their thing. Like you absolutely are not interfering.
Yeah,
with
what was the issue where like they announced Namor was going to join the team? Where was that?
Oh,
and like the
wow.
public, I think it was like late 80s, I want to say, but maybe I'm remembering
I
incorrectly.
may have to dig into that
but
book.
they had like a giant protest. They were like, he tried to decimate Manhattan. Why are you putting him on the Avengers team?
But Speedos. Speedos is paying us a lot of money for this. And there was also Avengers Tower for a while, and then
Well, there's still an Avengers Tower, aren't they?
and then there was this is what I want to talk
the
about.
Sentry. Oof.
This is why I wanted to bring up was like the weird magical chunk of Avengers Tower, which
Oh my God, the
I both
Sentry is
kind of
so
liked and
weird.
like was kind of it was like I have so many like really conflicting feelings about everything that happened here, which probably means it was probably good.
Probably means it was probably good.
It's like I like the Sentry was like kind of a Superman character for a while, but it was
Yeah.
like very.
This
And he
was a
was
very
his own
interesting
worst
character
enemy,
created.
yeah.
What? Paul Jenkins?
Yeah, and
early
it was
2000s?
it called the Clock Tower?
I thought it was Bendis, wasn't it?
Well, Jenkins
Bendis?
started it, and
Did he start it?
the
Bendis took it
original run
over?
was Jenkins, and I only know this because of a weird night drinking.
Please tell us more.
We attempted at one time to do an internet show called Beer Science, and we all got drunk and put on lab coats and tested beers, and it ended up like he just showed up randomly. Paul Jenkins just showed up randomly and just started. Oh God, it was great.
Whoa,
Nothing
me?
ever came of it, but I was like, "You write comic books. You're amazing. You're amazing." Yeah, I was not on my best, but either was good. Talked about Sentry a bit. But yeah, Bendis eventually revived this character who was kind of an interesting mess, and
I think you went pretty swiftly into being used in the sort of Avengers thing, but Sentry was one of the prominent examples of a thing that happened a lot around that time, which was sort of making someone up and giving them a history.
Yeah,
But
and-
in Sentry's case, they developed a whole mythology for why we might not know that history.
And he was from the 60s. He was like a big hero then, right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Well, how it worked was.
What does your question mean exactly?
I don't want to. This
Was
is
he
actually something I
created
don't
in
want to
our
spoil for people.
1960s?
No.
Yeah.
Like in the mythology, he actually was around in
Yeah.
the 60s, and he was the biggest hero in the world, and all the heroes worked with him. And then
Spoilers
the
for
void.
Sentry.
Yeah,
Then
well,
the
we're not
void-
going to get into too much of what happened because this is one we shouldn't spoil. This is one we shouldn't spoil.
You're right.
It's
you're
such a
right.
good twist.
It is very cool.
And
If
it's
you
one of
haven't
the
read any of the
few-
Sentry stories, go
But
look through
it did
those.
mean that there was a big magic like clock tower on top of Avengers Mansion for a while.
no one knew about.
That no one understood or like, which was really creepy. There he is being
Excellent. What's that?
sun
Really?
powered
Yeah.
and crazy.
He went like really crazy during
His
Siege, right?
Yeah.
what was his favorite attack line? I swear I don't throw everything into the sun, people. Like, just throw it into the sun, man. I don't throw everything into the sun. Yeah, he had an interesting, like, that was a very Fortress of Solitude kind of vibe.
Yeah.
God, we covered a bunch of these. I was trying to find some ones that were like film versions, like Buck the Bonsai Institute was very much in that same of like institutions where people come together. I was trying to remember the Encyclopedia Brown Clubhouse was a big one for me as a kid.
Oh my gosh.
That was like literally a clubhouse, but like the notion of running a detective agency out of a tree house is just nuts.
Yeah.
All right, we have 15 minutes left.
Okay.
Do we want to do questions?
Well, throw some questions out, and we'll do a 5 in like we'll do one
So
question,
what
then we'll
were-
do one of the 5-minute topics.
Yeah, what are
And do we want to start with cards first?
Let's do a quick card, and then we'll do
Okay.
a 5-minute. Since
You guys
brought-
choose whatever you want.
I'm going to take Green Lantern, unless there's a flash.
Wonder
I'm gonna take Green
Woman?
Lantern.
I was
I'm
like,
going to take Green
Sorry.
Lantern.
no, I'm glad that you did. I'm going to take from the bottom, and it's Superman.
I'm taking.
All right,
These are
everybody.
DC Cosmic cards,
DC
the non
Yeah,
Cosmic
these
edition.
are
cards.
from, I think,
Bonus
92?
holograms randomly inserted.
91.
We are addicted to cards now.
Oh no.
Did you get a hologram?
No, I got Despero, which is just not. This is not a good start. This is not a good start.
I'm
What are you
so
talking
excited
about?
this.
Show the audience your card, Taliesin.
Here, I'll do this for you.
So the DC Cosmic
Yeah,
cards, we were going to have these on our show last week, but
Things happen.
we did not get them in time. So
So the gentleman I referred to earlier who opened his own bar is
Guy.
a well-regarded but, divisive, I guess, member of the Green Lantern Corps.
Specifically so.
He's kind of a big, angry lunkhead, and his card features him dropping his own power ring on this dude's head. Good job, Guy. Good
Yeah,
job.
that's
I don't
very.
think you've already laid yours out.
Guy Gardner is also
Thank you
famous
so
for having the best interaction of Batman in any comic book ever.
Justice League International.
We're only going to call One Punch.
Yeah.
One Punch.
Black
I
Mirror
got
Space Ghost.
Raven in white. I've never seen like the Raven in the white costume.
Ooh.
Here's Raven for a. Am I being useful or am I being terrible with this? Should I like just?
I got
It's so white that it's actually blowing there.
I got one of my favorite villains ever, Starro.
Oh, I love Starro. Starro's the original Justice League villain.
What's that?
The
There we go. Like that. There we go.
I got Lex Luthor like looking
God,
like
so
slightly chunky
pretty.
Lex Luthor crushing a globe.
I think I have to
I
give
prefer
this one
like the
up.
fit President Luthor myself. But.
I think I have to give this one up.
What? Yay!
What is
You
it?
got
What is it?
Barry. It's Barry.
Aw.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
you
at
gotta
the
get it.
time, this was known as Silver Age Flash, and given the hero heritage thing, because he's been dead for 5 years when these cards come out, and there's no sign of him actually ever coming back.
Barry died due to where is it? Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah!
1 and 2, where I got a
Ooh.
card for that. Ha ha.
I got Glorious Godfrey.
Oh my
gosh.
God.
Glorious Godfrey is Darkseid's hand-chosen Duke of Domination. With the guidance of his Lord and Master, Godfrey has time and again used his power of mind control to toll the death knell for America's superheroes, just America, whose actions were once outlawed by a government order as a result of this villain's malicious manipulations.
Oh, I got Parasite.
I got Mr. Mixelplick.
Yes!
Mitzelplicknick. Mr. Mitzelplicknick.
Plicknick?
Mitzelplicknick.
But there's no N.
Isn't
Mr.
there a
Plicknick.
Mitzelplicknick. I thought it was Mitzelplicknick.
There's no N.
Tipple.
One of my favorite Superman villains, actually. So
Yeah, he's great.
Nick Spitlick.
such
Mix,
a
mix, mix,
Mixoplick?
proper use of a derby
Mixoplick, as
hat.
we all say if we saw Super
Mixoplick,
Friends.
yeah. Who is Big Sir?
What?
What?
I'm not familiar with Big Sir. Can someone help me out with Big Sir?
We do not know.
I
do
can
not
give you
know Big
some
Sur.
useful facts about Big Sir.
Please do.
Height 6'9". Weapon energy mace. Eyes blue. Hair none. Secret identity. I'm making this up. Doofus. D-U-F-U-S.
Yes.
P. Ratchet.
Doofus P.
Before
Ratchet.
that was internet
Yep.
slang.
Yep.
First appearance, Flash number 338,
Of
October
course.
1984.
Looks like a Flash villain.
Strong as an ox and almost as smart. That's Big Sir, the bruising behemoth who has been duped by major disaster, in italics, that's a name, into using his might as a member of the infamous Injustice League. This is amazing. I'm very,
You
very
have a
excited
booster
about
gold
this.
too.
I have a booster gold.
Get through a few of these really quick,
Yeah.
but like
Okay,
booster.
we got to do a blue and gold episode.
We're
at some
gonna
point.
do a blue
Yeah.
and gold because Booster Gold and Blue Beetle are like it's the great bromance of DC Comics, and Booster Gold is so dumb, and I still hope for a day that Nathan Fillion will put on that suit and make that happen in a DC movie.
I got Shazam.
Shazam. Is it
Silver
Captain
and
Marvel
Shazam.
or is it
Interestingly, they're
Shazam?
calling him Shazam
Shazam.
on here, but they say Captain Marvel on the back because that is the character's name. They are already trapped in this weird zone of not knowing what to call this guy. Have we done one on him yet?
We haven't really
No.
done a Marvel Family. I'd be really into doing that because I'm a
Yeah.
big Marvel Family fan. I pitched a Black Adam book to DC a billion years ago. They don't really, like nor to like at Comic-Con
Yeah.
like in one of their like weird little.
These
things.
are great. Thank you for
You're
this.
welcome. It's my gift to you.
These are adorable. All right, let's do a 5. Let's see if we can actually do a 5-minute. I'm kind of curious. This is
What
something.
kind of choices do we have?
Lord Charizard also welcome. This is his
Welcome.
their
Welcome.
first Wednesday
Welcome
club.
to the
Welcome.
Wednesday Club.
I don't know. Let me see what we have here. Liz, did you see any of the 5-minute things that we could do?
They're at the bottom of the dock.
Going to it now.
Bottom
Rolling
of the dock.
by hand.
So just run.
I wanted
Oh my
to just do
God.
that. There's so many.
So many cards.
Love this. Golden Age Hawkman.
Oh, poor Hawkman. That's a whole nother That's our other. That's a whole nother ep. Poor Hawkman is like a victim of continuity on a level that defies human comprehension.
Oh, but hey, apparently Golden Age Hawkman was chairman of the Justice Society, which I did not know.
That's true. I'd forgotten about that.
5-minute topic: character that you love, which you wish had its own series right now. That comes from Blanca Danger.
Is that your choice, or
I'm
calling
throwing
it?
that out there. Or
Give us two options.
the Dugganator 8 says best 3rd or 4th-string superhero league members.
I think that's kind of the same thing. I think we can talk about. That's actually a very common. Actually, I'm going to call this one because also rans are definitely a big thing when I'm in the comic book store of talking about what character you would bring back to like continuity, like give them their own book, like limited run. The same way the Vision kind of got their own limited run and became the Vision book was great.
have we
so.
started? Is there a timer?
I'm starting it now. So yeah, let's talk about what character really deserves their own like mini series that's not getting any love right now.
Step into the spotlight.
We can talk about a few. Well, like this is weird. Khazar, Lord of the Savage Land, I think is actually a really good character that doesn't get a lot of love. I mean, like it's kind of an obvious Tarzan knockoff, and like there's obviously a lot of like weird political bullshit around like the character Tarzan, where it just doesn't work anymore because like the whole Greystone Mansion thing and like the whole like look at this random white guy in Speedos running around like in a jungle. But this character has such a better build, and this character, if you treat him properly, I think that especially with
His jungle's in Antarctica.
His jungle is in Antarctica, and it's filled with dinosaurs and weird magic shit. And there's characters like Sauron. Like I would love to do a book where he is almost an incidental character. The book is about him.
Sauron, the dinosaur mutant who steals your powers.
Sauron is a
Paralyzer.
dinosaur mutant
Yeah.
pterodactyl mutant who steals your powers. And I
he can
love the
hypnotize you,
idea
right?
of like
Yeah.
everybody kind of going on an adventure with Khazar. And it's not really about him, but it's about like just exploring that world that he lives in is so fascinating. I think that you could make it really work by making it about his environment and like the place that he has chosen to live, and his work kind of less. It's not about like Lord of the Savage Land, but literally just helping to create the political mechanisms that allow this place to be untouched by every other government on Earth. And these putting him less of like a dominator, more of like a person whose job it is to be almost a legal protector of an area of like I'm trying to keep everyone out of here, and like really making it that kind of his mission of just keeping it safe from intrusion and mining natural resource theft and all these things that do happen there. So that's one of my pitches. I got a few others, but like
you want to highlight the real dangers that are facing the Savage Land, that area
the
of
savage
jungle
land
in the Antarctica.
In the Antarctica,
wilderness.
but and like using it as a metaphor for environmentalism
Yeah, yeah.
is such a great place to go with that character.
Favorite third stringer who needs to step into the spotlight, Mackie?
Do you have one? I've got one. Do you?
You
have
know,
one?
you do yours, and we'll get.
He's had a bit of spotlight before. Jamie Madrox, the Multiple Man.
Jamie Madrox.
I don't remember who created him. I know he premiered in like a giant-sized Fantastic Four in the 70s, I believe.
He's a mutant.
He's a mutant. His mutant power is now there's 2, now there's 3, now there's 4, now there's 5.
And
he can create an entire army of him. None of them are super powered. None of them have super strength or mind control or whatever else. But he can create 100 of himself.
And
he's a
eventually they all
one-man
got
army.
like weirdly, slightly different personalities.
No, so here's what happened. This is amazing. Peter David was given this book. He was given this character by Marvel editors. They said, hey, we want you to take Jamie Madrox and do a 6-issue mini on him. And he's like, what? And by the way, I learned this from his wife last year at Comic-Con, who had created a Baron Mordo and a Doctor Strange puppet and let me play with him. And then halfway through the conversation, as I was talking about X Factor with another friend nearby and going, X Factor is awesome. She goes, oh, do you like X Factor? I'm Peter David's my husband. I was just like, what? And Jamie Madrox is one of my top 5 characters of all time. So she told me this
Is he
story.
all 5 of your top 5 characters?
Yes, all top
All
5.
5 at the same. He's got a great costume too.
He's got a great costume, but what he ended up doing with it was he said every time he creates a duplicate or a dupe, as he refers to them, it's a different aspect of his personality. So sometimes it's his daddy issues, sometimes it's his anger issues, sometimes it's his selfishness, sometimes it's his cowardice, and I think that's awesome. So anyway,
All right,
go.
What do you got?
I like the ones that I don't see coming, but the problem was the first thing I thought of was that like I've actually gotten to watch this happen. Squirrel Girl is a breakout star, and
Good
she's getting
God.
to be the center of a TV show.
How
She's
does
a
that
background
That's
show
my wife,
girl.
everybody.
Yeah,
In what world do we get what we want?
Doreen Green, aka Squirrel Girl, is like a continuity in-joke, a character introduced in a weird one-shot where she won a fight she absolutely shouldn't have been able to win, and then acquired like a reputation. Like writers thought she was funny, deep-cut nerds thought she was funny. She got used a little bit in a comedy run called Great Lakes Avengers. She got used in a notable supporting role in New Avengers, and then the right
God,
people
the
came
Wolverine
along.
interaction was so good.
It was real good. Ryan North and Erica Henderson somehow got permission to do a solo series with Squirrel Girl and took everything that was already there and just elevated her into like someone worth building a world around. And we're now seeing it happen because as of this week, she's been cast in the live-action TV show called New Warriors, but which is clearly
Played
Great
by
Lakes Avengers.
Milana Vaintrub.
I'm excited.
Milana something.
Milana
It looks
Vaintrub, yeah.
fantastic. So we're running out of time, so I'm just going to have to stick with that being my answer, I guess.
Do you know
That's a pretty
who
good
helped
answer.
We have
create?
15 seconds.
Do you know who helped create her?
We want to thank
Steve
Duganator
Ditko.
and Blanca Danger for this excellent
Yeah.
question. Stay tuned. We'll do this next time.
We
probably.
did that. We did that in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We
5
have
minutes.
4 seconds according to this timer. I don't know which one's right. Thanks.
I will go with mine.
Well,
So
no, I was that was the 5 minutes. Do we need
Did
to
we
wrap
do
it?
it?
We have 2 minutes.
We did do
We're
it.
Good.
So let's start. Let's say this has been welcome to our new set. Welcome
Secret
to,
headquarters.
welcome to the Wednesday Club at its new time officially. I suppose officially was last week, but welcome
Yeah.
to our new time. Welcome to our new set.
Thank you so much to the people who built this beautiful set. Look at this table. Look at all of this.
Look at there's
Thank you, Ken Wynn,
things
for our
everywhere.
beautiful art.
And thank you so much for our headquarters within the headquarters. All the way on the left, please tell us who you are. And where you
what are
come
we
from.
talking about next week?
We're going to talk about Comic-Con.
Comic-Con!
Talking about the history of
Comic-Con.
Comic-Cons, what Comic-Cons are, good ways to good ways to have fun at Comic-Con if you've never done one. So that's next week.
Yeah. All right. My name is Matt Key. You can find me at the Matt Key on Twitter, and I'm Java Shambhala on Instagram. And I'm gonna have to figure out how that works. My wife will help me.
The Wi-Fi password.
Yeah.
My name is Amy Dallen. You can find me at Enthusiamy everywhere.
And my name is Taliesin Jaffe, and I'm Executive Goth, and you can see me on Critical Role, and you can see a couple of us on Dread on Alpha. So there's a new episode tomorrow morning.
And if you stay tuned tonight,
Tonight?
we are going to be playing some Star Trek Adventures.
It's amazing.
Shield of Tomorrow.
So
Our
check
second
out
episode
Shield.
is tonight, and we definitely didn't already get ourselves in trouble, so it's fine.
Everything's fine. It's going to be wonderful. So please stick around for that. And no matter if you have your own little secret headquarters at home, just remember, even if you don't, that in the words of the immortal Buckaroo Banzai, no matter where you go, there you are. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Stay tuned for Shields of Tomorrow.